The networking event invitation sat on my desk like a ticking bomb. Director Stevens had personally delivered it, a cream-colored envelope with gold trim that screamed wealth and power. My stomach churned as I traced the embossed lettering with my fingertip. I'm Margaret, and until today, I'd managed to stay comfortably invisible in my corner of Anderson and Associates' accounting department. But this invitation changed everything. You'll want to bring your A game to this one, Stevens had said, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. The Morrison account depends on it. The Morrison account? Of course. The one that could make or break our entire fiscal quarter. I'd spent months preparing those numbers, double and triple checking every detail. Now, they wanted me to defend them in person at some fancy cocktail party where everyone would be watching, judging, waiting for me to slip up. I grabbed my gym bag and headed for the door. If I couldn't control the chaos at work, at least I could control my body. The familiar weight room smell hit me as I pushed through the double doors of Power Fitness, and my shoulders instantly relaxed. Going heavy today? Jake, the usual desk guy, called out. Always, I answered, but my voice caught as I spotted someone new by the squat rack. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of focused intensity that made everything else fade away. He was doing perfect form deadlifts, and I couldn't help but stare. He caught my eye in the mirror and nodded. I quickly looked away, feeling my face flush. This wasn't high school, and I wasn't here to gawk at attractive men. I had a presentation to worry about. 45 minutes later, I was deep into my own workout when a shadow fell across my bench. Your form is impressive, the guy from earlier said. Most people cheat on incline presses. Up close, his eyes were startlingly green. Thanks, yours too, on the deadlifts. Ryan, he said, extending his hand. Margaret. His grip was firm but not crushing. Listen, I know this might seem forward, but would you want to grab a protein shake? There's this place around the corner that makes great ones. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Another email about tomorrow's networking event. Reality came crashing back. I can't, I said, hating how regretful I sounded. I have this work thing tomorrow I need to prepare for. The Morrison Group event? I froze. How did you? I'm actually heading there too. Marketing department, Morrison Group. He grinned. Small world, right? My heart rate doubled, and not from the workout. This gorgeous man wasn't just some random gym guy. He was connected to the very account I was presenting to tomorrow. That shake offer still stands, he said. Maybe we could talk strategy? Unless you'd rather keep things strictly professional. I should have said no, should have maintained that professional distance, but something in his easy smile made me want to take a risk. One shake, I said, but if you're secretly trying to sabotage my presentation, I would never. He pressed a hand to his chest in mock offense. Besides, my sister's the cutthroat one in the family. I'm just here to make sure the numbers add up. His sister. Something in the way he said it made me pause, but I pushed the thought aside. One protein shake couldn't hurt. Even if it did, I needed all the allies I could get for tomorrow's event. I didn't know then that accepting that shake would set everything in motion. Didn't know that Ryan's sister would become both my nightmare and my catalyst for revenge. But that's the thing about life-changing moments. They rarely announce themselves. They just smile, offer you a protein shake, and wait for you to take the bait. 3 months after that first protein shake, I stood in my parents' kitchen, watching my mother fuss over the table settings while Ryan charmed my father with talk of investment strategies. The scene was almost too perfect, the kind of perfect that makes you wonder what's about to go wrong. He's different from the others, Mom whispered, sliding next to me at the counter. I can tell. I nodded, unable to stop the smile spreading across my face. The past few months had been a whirlwind of gym sessions, late-night conversations, and stolen kisses between meetings. Ryan wasn't just different, he felt inevitable. The doorbell rang, interrupting my thoughts. Ryan jumped up. "That'll be Olivia. She insisted on joining us tonight." My stomach tightened. I'd heard plenty about Ryan's sister, but we hadn't met yet. He'd always changed the subject when I suggested it, and I'd started to wonder why. The woman who walked through the door made me understand immediately. Olivia commanded attention like a force of nature. Tall, elegant, with sharp features that seemed to evaluate everything they landed on. Her smile was perfect, practiced, and didn't reach her eyes. "So this is the famous Margaret," she said, air-kissing my cheek. Her perfume was expensive, overwhelming. "Ryan won't stop talking about you." "All good things, I hope," I said, aiming for lightness. "Oh, sweetie," she laughed, the sound like breaking glass. "With Ryan, it's always good things. He sees the best in everyone. It's his greatest strength and his greatest weakness." Ryan appeared behind her, his hand settling on my lower back. "Liv, behave." "I'm always behaving," she said, but something in her tone made me shiver. Dinner started pleasantly enough. My father asked about Olivia's work in public relations, and she answered with practiced charm. But I noticed how her eyes kept tracking Ryan's movements, how she tensed whenever he touched me. "Remember when you tried dating that trainer last year?" Olivia said suddenly, cutting through a conversation about fitness routines. "What was her name, Ryan? The one who turned out to be married?" Ryan's fork clattered against his plate. "That's ancient history, Liv. I'm just saying, you tend to fall hard and fast." She turned to me, concern dripping from her voice like honey-coated poison. "I worry about him getting hurt again." "I would never hurt Ryan," I said firmly, meeting her gaze. "No one ever intends to." She smiled sadly. "But intentions aren't everything, are they?" The rest of dinner passed in a blur of loaded comments and subtle digs. Every time I spoke about work, Olivia had a story about corporate scandals. Every mention of my relationship with Ryan was met with a carefully crafted reminder of his past disappointments. Later, as we cleared the tables, Olivia cornered me in the kitchen. "You seem nice enough," she said, handing me a plate. "But Ryan needs someone who understands our family dynamic. We've been through a lot together." "I'm willing to learn," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "Are you?" She stepped closer, dropping her voice. "Because from where I'm standing, you're moving awfully fast with someone you barely know. The Morrison account, the gym coincidence, it all seems a bit calculated." My hands froze on the dishes. "What are you implying?" "Nothing at all." She patted my arm, her nails digging in slightly. "Just looking out for my little brother. Family first, always." Before I could respond, Ryan walked in. Olivia's demeanor shifted instantly, her sharp edges softening as she hugged him goodbye. But over his shoulder, she fixed me with a look that made her message clear. This wasn't over. After they left, I stood in my parents' driveway with Ryan, trying to process the evening. "Your sister is intense," I said carefully. "She's protective." He pulled me close. "But she'll come around, once she sees how happy you make me." I wanted to believe him, but as I watched his car disappear into the night, Olivia's words echoed in my head. Family first, always. I had a feeling I'd just stumbled into a battle I hadn't known I was fighting. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Welcome to the family, Margaret. Let's hope you're ready for what that really means." Oh, I deleted the message, but the threat lingered like Olivia's perfume, subtle, toxic, and impossible to ignore. The first sign something was wrong came when my presentation files disappeared from the server. Then my client contact list vanished. By the time my quarterly reports were accidentally deleted, I knew exactly what was happening. The question was proving it. I stared at my blank computer screen, my hands shaking with rage. 6 months of work, gone. The backup files were corrupted too, a coincidence that felt anything but random. Technical glitch, our IT manager said, not meeting my eyes. These things happen. These things started happening right after I declined Olivia's invitation to her exclusive charity gala. Family should support family, she'd said, her voice dripping with implication. When I'd explained I had a major presentation that day, her smile had turned predatory. My phone buzzed, Ryan asking about dinner. I couldn't face him right now, not when his sister was systematically dismantling my career. Instead, I headed to the break room, desperate for coffee. Rough day? Sophie, Olivia's supposed best friend, was already there, stirring her tea with deliberate slowness. I heard about your files. Did you? I kept my voice neutral, watching her carefully. Olivia mentioned something about server issues. She paused, glancing around the empty room. She mentions a lot of things lately. Like what? Like how convenient it was that you met Ryan at that specific gym. Sophie's eyes met mine. Or how quickly you've integrated yourself into his life. My coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. What exactly are you implying? I'm not implying anything. She lowered her voice. But you should know, the last woman Ryan dated, her career took an interesting turn after Olivia decided she wasn't suitable. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. Check your email. S. Back at my desk, I found an email from Sophie containing a single document, a detailed list of accidents that had befallen Ryan's previous girlfriends. Lost jobs, ruined reputations, mysterious professional setbacks, all coinciding with Olivia's disapproval. Margaret? Director Stevens appeared at my cubicle. The Morrison numbers seem off. We need to review everything before tomorrow's meeting. My stomach dropped. The Morrison account, my biggest project, the one that had brought Ryan into my life. Off how? Several key calculations appear to have been altered. He frowned. This could cost us the entire account. I pulled up the files, my vision blurring as I spotted the changes. Subtle modifications, the kind only someone with inside access could make. Someone who worked in marketing, perhaps. Someone who had a brother on the account. My phone buzzed again, Olivia this time. Heard about the Morrison troubles. Such a shame. Maybe we should discuss over dinner. Ryan's worried about you. The message carried a photo attachment. Ryan and me at the gym where we'd met, dated the day before I received the networking event invitation. We looked staged, purposeful, because we were. Another message followed. Did you really think running into him was an accident? I choose my brother's partners carefully, and I remove them just as carefully. The realization hit like a physical blow. I hadn't been the hunter, I'd been the prey. Every moment from that first meeting to now had been orchestrated. But why? My phone rang, Ryan calling again. I let it go to voicemail, my mind racing. If Olivia had arranged our meeting, what else had she arranged? How deep did this manipulation go? Sophie appeared at my desk, her expression grim. There's more, she whispered, sliding a USB drive onto my desk. But be careful how you use it. Olivia's not the only one playing games. I clutched the drive, feeling its weight like a loaded gun. Why are you helping me? Because I was you once, she said quietly, and because sometimes the only way to beat a monster is to become one. As she walked away, my computer pinged with another email. The Morrison account numbers had been restored, with a note from IT about a system recovery. A warning or a taunt? With Olivia, everything was both. I slipped the USB drive into my pocket, my decision made. If Olivia wanted to play games, fine. But she'd forgotten something crucial. She wasn't the only one who could learn from past mistakes. And unlike her previous victims, I wasn't going to disappear quietly. My phone buzzed one final time. Ryan again. This time, I answered. After all, every good revenge story needs a witness, even if he didn't know it yet. The USB drive from Sophie contained enough dirt to bury Olivia 10 times over. Financial records, emails, photos, a digital paper trail of destruction that made my stomach turn. But one file stood out. A video of Olivia and Dylan discussing their plans for Ryan's protection. I watched it for the third time in Dylan's empty nightclub, my hands clenched around a glass of water. The afternoon sun through the windows cast strange shadows across the bar. Early for a drink, Dylan said, materializing behind the bar. His smile was practiced, professional. Though, given what I heard about the Morrison account, I wouldn't blame you. Just water. I held his gaze. Helps keep my head clear. Clarity's overrated. He started polishing glasses too casual. Sometimes it's better not to see everything too clearly, especially when it comes to family. Is that what Olivia tells herself? His movement stilled for a fraction of a second. I'm not sure I follow. I pulled out my phone, played the video. His face remained carefully blank as his own voice filled the air. Ryan's too trusting. We need to handle this one carefully, like the others. I paused it. Want to explain? Careful, he said softly. You're playing a game you don't understand. Then explain it to me. It's complicated. He leaned forward. Family always is, but there are things about Ryan and Olivia's past that you don't know. Things that would make you understand. Try me. Their parents' death wasn't an accident. His voice dropped. The official report says drunk driving, but... He stopped, straightening as the door chimed. Ryan walked in, his smile fading as he registered the tension. Everything okay? Just getting to know your girlfriend better, Dylan said smoothly. Fascinating woman. Ryan's hand found my shoulder, protective. Margaret, we should go. Olivia's waiting at the restaurant. Actually, I said, standing, I think we need to talk first. In Ryan's car, I played him the video. His knuckles went white on the steering wheel. There's more, I said quietly. Sophie gave me... Sophie? He laughed harshly. You can't trust Sophie. She's been Olivia's puppet for years. The evidence is real, Ryan. Your sister and Dylan, they've been orchestrating everything. Our meeting, the Morrison account, all of it. You don't understand, he said, but his voice wavered. After our parents, Olivia was all I had. She protected me. No, I said, feeling something break inside me. She controlled you. There's a difference. His phone buzzed. Olivia, of course, always watching, always intervening. I have to answer, he said. She'll worry. I grabbed his phone, threw it in the back seat. For once in your life, Ryan, worry about yourself. What do you want? I want... He stopped, swallowed. I want the truth about our parents. Then let's get it. Dylan knows something. Sophie has evidence, but we have to move fast before Olivia realizes... His phone buzzed again. And again and again. She already knows, he whispered. My phone lit up with a text. Dinner's canceled, but let's meet anyway. Just us girls. Time to finish this. Attached was a photo of my parents' house, taken today, judging by my mother's garden decorations. The message was clear. Play by her rules, or others would pay the price. I can't let you face her alone, Ryan said. You can't stop me either. I opened the car door. But you can choose, right here, right now. Are you ready to learn the truth about your family? All of it? He stared ahead, conflict etched in every line of his face. Finally, he nodded. Then drop me at Olivia's, and while I keep her occupied, You and Sophie need to find what's in Dylan's office safe. The combination is your parents' death date. Fitting, isn't it? How do you know? Because I've been playing this game longer than she realizes. I touched his cheek. And I'm done being a pawn. As I walked toward Olivia's building, my phone buzzed one last time. Not Olivia, but Sophie. Be careful. Last time someone confronted her about their parents, they disappeared. Ask Ryan about Jessica. I deleted the message, straightened my spine, and pressed the buzzer. Time to find out who was really protecting whom. Olivia's penthouse felt like a trap, all gleaming surfaces and sharp edges. She poured wine with steady hands, her smile a perfect replica of warmth. Jessica loved this vintage, she said, sliding a glass toward me. Before she disappeared, my fingers tightened around the stem. Ryan never mentioned a Jessica. Ryan never mentions a lot of things. Olivia settled into her armchair like a queen on her throne. Trauma does that to people, makes them forget what they need to forget. My phone buzzed, Ryan confirming he was at Dylan's club. I deleted the message immediately, keeping my expression neutral. Like your parents' accident? Something flickered behind Olivia's eyes. Careful, Margaret. Some doors are better left closed. Like the door to Dylan's office safe? The wine glass in her hand stilled. For a moment, the mask slipped, revealing something cold and calculating underneath. Then she laughed, the sound like breaking ice. Sophie's been talking, I see. She set her glass down with precise movement. Did she tell you about her own little indiscretions? The real reason she stays so loyal? My phone buzzed again. Sophie this time. Safe empty. Dylan knew we were coming. Olivia's smile widened as my face betrayed my reaction. Oh, sweetheart, did you really think I wouldn't be prepared? That's the problem with people like you. You think love makes you stronger. It just makes you predictable. She pressed a button on her phone. Security footage of Ryan and Sophie at Dylan's club filled the massive TV screen. Right now, Dylan is calling the police. Breaking and entering is such an ugly charge. You do that to your own brother? To protect him? I'd do anything. She leaned forward. The question is, what would you do? My phone rang. Ryan. Olivia nodded permission. Answer it. Let's hear what choice you make. Margaret? Ryan's voice was tight with panic. Dylan's here. He's saying, I know what he's saying, I cut in, watching Olivia. Do you trust me? A pause. Yes. Then get out. Now. And Ryan, check your email. I hung up, met Olivia's curious stare. You're not the only one who can plan ahead. What did you do? I pulled out my own phone, played a different video, security footage from her building's lobby, dated the night her parents died. Olivia and Dylan arguing violently, her father intervening. The timestamp matched their time of death. Amazing what building managers will share when you flash a private investigator's badge, I said, even if it's fake. The color drained from her face. You have no idea what you're doing. Actually, I do. I stood, steady despite my racing heart. Right now, that footage is being uploaded to multiple servers. If anything happens to Ryan, me, or my family, it goes public. You think that proves anything? I think it proves enough to reopen the investigation. And I think you're not the only one protecting secrets. I glanced meaningfully at her phone. Does Dylan know about the offshore accounts? The ones in his name? She moved so fast I barely saw it coming. The wine glass shattered against the wall where my head had been a second before. You're just like Jessica, she snarled, thinking you can waltz in and save him. She thought she had evidence too. Look what happened to her. The difference is, I said, backing toward the door, I'm not trying to save Ryan from you. I'm making him choose. Her laugh was hollow. He'll never choose you over family. Maybe not, but now he'll choose with all the facts. I opened the door. By the way, Dylan's been recording your conversations. Ask him about the backup drive in his other safe, the one you don't know about. I left her standing there, surrounded by her perfect prison of lies. In the elevator, my hands finally started shaking. My phone buzzed with Ryan's location, a coffee shop across town. The game wasn't over. Olivia wouldn't give up her control easily. But for the first time, I saw her for what she really was. Not an all-powerful puppet master, but a scared woman desperately clinging to the last piece of her broken family. And scared people make mistakes. As I stepped into the night air, another text came through, from an unknown number. Smart move, but remember, revenge has a way of echoing. Ask Ryan about the night Jessica really disappeared. D. The pieces were moving now, and there was no going back. I flagged down a taxi, my mind already plotting the next move. Sometimes to beat a monster, you have to become one. I just hoped Ryan would understand why. The church bells seemed to mock me as I stared at my reflection in the bridal suite mirror. My wedding dress felt like armor now, not the symbol of joy it was supposed to be. 2 hours until the ceremony, and everything was falling apart. You need to see this. Sophie burst in, her bridesmaid dress askew, holding her phone like a live grenade. The local news website blazed with the headline, Corporate Scandal Rocks Morrison Group, Key Players Named in Fraud Investigation. My stomach dropped as I scanned the article. The Morrison account numbers, twisted and manipulated to suggest years of systematic fraud. My signature on all the key documents, an anonymous source pointing fingers directly at me. Olivia, I whispered. It gets worse. Sophie's voice cracked. Ryan's being questioned by the police right now. They're saying he might have been involved. The room spun. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was destruction. My career, Ryan's freedom, our future, all unraveling in Olivia's perfectly manicured hands. My phone buzzed. Dylan, check your email. There's still time to stop this. The attached video showed Ryan and Jessica in Dylan's office years ago. Their voices were muffled, but the argument was clear. Then Olivia entered, and the video cut off. Another message followed. Full video goes to the police in 1 hour. Walk away now. No ceremony, no charges, no questions about what really happened that night. The bridal suite door opened again. My mother entered, her face pale. Margaret, there are reporters outside. They're saying, I know what they're saying. I gripped the back of a chair, steadying myself. Where's Ryan? Still at the police station with his lawyer. Sophie checked her phone. Olivia's with him. Of course she was, playing the protective sister while systematically destroying everything we'd built. The perfect alibi. My father appeared in the doorway, his expression grim. The guests are starting to arrive. We need to make a decision. A decision. Like it was that simple. Like I wasn't choosing between my freedom and Ryan's, between truth and safety, between love and justice. My phone buzzed again. An unknown number. Jessica chose wrong. Don't make her mistake. I looked at my reflection again, at the woman I'd become in this war with Olivia, the evidence I'd gathered, the lies I'd told, the lines I'd crossed, all of it leading to this moment. Margaret? My mother's voice was gentle. Whatever you decide, we're here. But they weren't here, not really. They didn't know about the offshore accounts I'd discovered, the security footage I'd manipulated, the deals I'd made with people who lived in society's shadows. They didn't know their daughter had become just as calculating as her enemy. The church bells rang again, 1 hour to ceremony time, 1 hour until Dylan's deadline, 1 hour to decide if revenge was worth the cost. My phone lit up with a final message from Ryan. Don't believe anything. Coming to you now. Trust us. Us. Not me. Us. The word hit like a physical blow. I'd been so focused on protecting our love that I hadn't seen the truth. Ryan had made his choice long ago, and it wasn't me. It had never been me. Tell the guests, I said, my voice surprisingly steady, that the wedding is— The bridal suite door burst open. Olivia stood there, immaculate in her maid of honor dress, holding a manila envelope. Before you finish that sentence, she said, you should know something about Jessica. She placed the envelope on the vanity. And about what really happened the night our parents died. Sophie gasped. My mother grabbed my father's arm, and I stared at the envelope, knowing that whatever was inside would change everything. The truth, Olivia said softly, is a funny thing, especially when it comes from someone you trust. She glanced meaningfully at Sophie, who wouldn't meet my eyes. And in that moment, I realized the game was bigger than I'd imagined, the betrayals deeper than I'd suspected, and my chances of winning nearly impossible. The church bells rang one final time. Outside, I could hear the guests arriving, the reporters shouting questions, the world spinning forward while my life imploded. I reached for the envelope, my hand surprisingly steady. Sometimes, to face your monsters, you have to become one. I just hadn't realized how many monsters were actually in the room. The envelope's contents scattered across the church floor like fallen leaves, photographs, documents, and a single USB drive. But it was the handwritten confession that made my blood run cold. Jessica's last words, written hours before she disappeared. It's quite something, isn't it? Olivia's voice cut through the silence. Finding out the person you trust most is the one who betrayed you? Ryan burst through the door, freezing at the sight of the evidence spread before us. His eyes met mine, and for the first time, I saw real fear there. Tell her, Olivia commanded. Tell her what really happened that night. Don't. Dylan appeared behind Ryan, his usual smooth confidence cracking. Think about what you're doing, Olivia. I'm doing what I should have done years ago. She picked up Jessica's confession. When our parents confronted you about the embezzlement, Ryan, it wasn't just their money you'd stolen, was it? The church fell silent except for the distant murmur of waiting guests. My mother gripped my father's arm tighter. Sophie backed away toward the door. It was Dylan's idea. Ryan's voice was barely a whisper. The accounts, the fake investments, all of it. But Jessica found out. So you killed her? The words tasted like ash in my mouth. No. Ryan stepped forward. I tried to protect her. I told her to run, to forget what she'd discovered. But Dylan did what needed to be done. Olivia cut in. Just like he did with our parents when they threatened to expose everything. The room spun as the truth clicked into place. The accident that wasn't an accident. Jessica's disappearance. The Morrison account fraud. All of it connected. All of it orchestrated. You knew, I said to Olivia. All this time, you knew what they'd done. I knew I had to protect my brother. Her perfect mask finally cracked. Even from himself. Every girlfriend who got too close, every person who might discover the truth, I had to make them go away, including you. By framing me for fraud, by giving you a chance to walk away. She gestured to the wedding dress I wore. I underestimated your stubbornness. Dylan moved suddenly, pulling something from his jacket. The metallic glint made everyone freeze. Nobody's walking away now, he said, the gun steady in his hand. Not with this much evidence in the open. Dylan, Olivia's voice shook. This wasn't the plan. Plans change, he smiled grimly. Just like they did the night your parents died. Right, Ryan? Ryan's face went ash white. You said nobody would get hurt. I say a lot of things. Dylan's gaze swept the room. Sophie, get the evidence, all of it. Sophie didn't move. Instead, she pulled out her phone, held it up. Already streaming, to the police and every news outlet in the city. The moment hung suspended, then exploded into chaos. Dylan lunged for Sophie. Ryan tackled him. The gun went off, shattering the stained glass window. And through it all, Olivia screamed, not in fear, but in rage. I moved without thinking, diving for the scattered evidence. Olivia reached it first, but her hands were shaking too badly to gather everything. It was all for him, she sobbed, photos slipping through her fingers. Everything I did, every person I hurt, it was to protect him. No, I said, watching Ryan and Dylan struggle for the gun. It was to control him. There's a difference. The second shot brought sirens. Sophie's live stream brought reporters. And Jessica's confession brought justice. Not just for her, but for everyone Olivia and Dylan had destroyed in their quest for power. In the end, it wasn't revenge that won. It was truth, brutal, ugly, and absolutely necessary. Hours later, as the police led Dylan and Ryan away in handcuffs, Olivia caught my arm. "You think you've won," she said quietly. "But revenge echoes, Margaret. It comes back in ways you never expect." I watched her follow the officers, still elegant even in defeat. She was right about one thing: revenge does echo, but so does justice, and sometimes they sound exactly the same. My mother appeared beside me, holding what was left of my wedding dress. "What happens now?" I looked at the church, at the scattered dreams and shattered lies. Now? Now we learn to live with the truth. The truth that love can blind us, family can betray us, and sometimes the greatest act of revenge is simply surviving to tell the story. The courthouse steps felt colder than they should in spring. I watched Olivia emerge from the heavy doors, her designer outfit replaced by something simpler, more human. The media circus had dwindled to a few persistent reporters, their questions falling like dead leaves around her. She spotted me waiting, paused mid-step. The ghost of her old smile flickered across her face. "Come to witness the fall?" she asked, joining me on the bench. "Came to return something." I handed her a photograph, her and Ryan as children, their parents' shadows falling across their laughing faces. "Found it in the evidence box." Her fingers trembled as she took it. "The prosecution called it my origin story, the moment I learned to protect what was mine, no matter the cost." "And now?" "Now I have 5 years to think about the difference between protection and possession." She tucked the photo into her bag. "Ryan's sentence? 3 years with possibility of parole. Dylan got 12. The silence stretched between us, filled with the weight of destroyed lives and twisted intentions. A young couple passed by, their happiness a stark reminder of what could have been. "I never asked," I said finally, "why you kept Sophie close all those years, knowing she might turn against you. The same reason you kept pushing even when you discovered Ryan's true nature." Olivia's laugh was hollow. "We see what we want to see in the people we love, until we don't." My phone buzzed. Sophie, updating me on the Morrison account restoration. The company had survived, barely. Some wounds heal, others just scar over. "Jessica's family finally has closure," I said. "The police found her. I know where they found her." Olivia stood, straightening her jacket. "I always knew. That was my real punishment, carrying everyone else's secrets while protecting my own." A court officer approached, signaling it was time. Olivia turned to me one last time. "You know what the worst part is?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "I won. Every girlfriend I drove away, every threat I neutralized. I kept him close, kept him dependent, and in doing so, I destroyed the very thing I was trying to protect." "Love shouldn't need protection," I replied. "It needs freedom to either strengthen or fail on its own." She nodded, a tear finally breaking through her perfect composure. "Take care of him? When he gets out, I'm not the one who needs to save Ryan anymore. I stood, facing her directly. That was always your story, not mine. The officer led her away, and I watched until she disappeared into the waiting prisoner transport. My mother's words echoed in my head. Sometimes winning feels exactly like losing. The manila envelope still sat in my bag, heavy with one last secret. Proof that could have shortened Ryan's sentence, implicated Olivia further. But some truths serve no purpose except to perpetuate the cycle of revenge. I walked to the courthouse garden, found a quiet spot, and burned the final evidence. As the ashes scattered, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Smart choice. Some echoes should fade. S. The spring breeze carried the scent of new beginnings, but I knew better now. There are no true fresh starts, only new versions of old stories. The trick is recognizing when your chapter needs to end. I left the courthouse behind, but Olivia's words followed me. Revenge echoes. She was right, but she'd missed the point. Everything echoes. Love, betrayal, justice, mercy. The choice isn't whether to make noise, but which sounds we let define us. My father was waiting in the car, ready to drive me home. Not to my apartment, but to their house, where my mother was probably stress baking enough for an army, where simple love still existed, uncomplicated by possession or protection. Ready? He asked as I slid into the passenger seat. I looked back at the courthouse one last time, thinking of all the echoes contained within its walls. Olivia's twisted devotion, Ryan's weak surrender, Dylan's cold ambition, and somewhere in there, my own transformation from victim to avenger to something else entirely. Yes, I said, surprising myself by meaning it. I'm ready. The car pulled away, leaving behind the ashes of one story and the seeds of another. Some might call it karma, others justice, but in the end, it was simply truth, raw, imperfect, and finally free to echo on its own terms.
Hey, housekeeper, take care of this as soon as you can. As soon as I walked through the door, Michael hurled his bag at me and barked out his demand. Lately, I lacked the energy to fight back, so I just picked up the bag from the floor. Scattered papers and a planner spilled out. His chocolate snack lay among them, presumably for when he got peckish. I gathered everything and put it back in the bag, but one document caught my eye. It was a divorce paper with Michael's section already filled out. In that moment, something inside me shattered. I can divorce this man. The realization hit me like a breath of fresh air. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Without hesitation, I took a pen from the drawer and began filling out my part of the divorce form. My name is Linda Smith, and I'm 35 years old. I work as an administrative assistant at an IT company. Luckily, I have great coworkers and a pleasant work environment, which makes my life relatively stress-free. After quitting my first job due to toxic office politics, my current company feels like a haven. If all goes well, I plan to stay here for the long haul. But lately, I've been grappling with another issue. Despite my efforts, I can't seem to find a boyfriend, let alone a husband. It's not like I haven't had chances to meet someone. There have been company parties and blind dates set up by friends. I've had plenty of opportunities to mingle with men. Most of my friends are married with children. So why not me? Is there something fundamentally wrong with me? Each time a friend announced their engagement, I would agonize over it until I gave myself a headache. But then, my chance came. It was at a company drinking party. As usual, I was sipping my drink when a man sat next to me. That man would become my husband, Michael. Linda Wright. How do you know my name? Michael, who had suddenly spoken to me, worked in a different department, so we had never talked before. I knew his name and that he was older and had joined the company earlier than I did, but nothing more. Oh, sorry. I just started talking to you out of the blue, Michael explained, seeing my surprise. He introduced himself and explained why he had approached me. Apparently, he had noticed that I was often alone at company events and during breaks. I hadn't thought of myself as being that solitary, but I guess that's how it appeared to others. After that, Michael and I continued our conversation effortlessly, thanks in part to the alcohol. At the end of the party, we exchanged contact information, thinking, why not? From that day on, Michael and I started talking more at work. Although we couldn't chat much during work hours, we made up for it during breaks and after work. Sometimes, if we bumped into each other at the nearest station, we'd walk to the office together. As we continued this routine, we naturally grew closer and started dating. Our relationship eventually became known at work, surprising my peers and juniors who hadn't expected me to date Michael. Michael remained the same even after we started dating, always kind and cheerful. Being with him felt comfortable, and I found myself increasingly attracted to him. He seemed happier too, which made me feel good. About 6 months into our relationship, Michael told me something significant. Hey, I actually have a kid. A kid? Michael had been married before but divorced due to personality differences. He had custody and was raising his middle school-aged child as a single father. I've been thinking I'd like to marry you someday, Linda. I had to tell you before it's too late. Sorry for springing this on you all of a sudden. I was definitely surprised. Surprised, but also happy that Michael was thinking about marrying me and had shared his past and his child's existence, considering our future together. Thank you for telling me, I said to Michael. After that, I began spending more time with Michael's child, Noah. I was worried he might reject me being a middle schooler, but Noah accepted me readily. A year later, Michael and I got married. I felt an unprecedented exhilaration and joy at being united with the person I loved. I was truly glad I hadn't turned Michael away at that drinking party. However, my happiness was short-lived. After we got married, Michael's true nature gradually began to surface. After discussing it with Michael, I decided to quit my job. While it had been a fun workplace, I wasn't overly attached to it. I opted for a fresh start and became a stay-at-home wife. My days were now mostly filled with housework and shopping. Initially lacking hobbies, I eventually found one: painting. It started with pencil sketches out of curiosity, but I quickly immersed myself in watercolors. Before long, my room was adorned with watercolor paints, palettes, and brushes. It was around this time that Michael's behavior began to change, or perhaps his true colors started showing. The first sign of trouble was when he left laundry scattered about. Hey, could you please put the laundry in the basket? Ah, sorry. Since we hadn't lived together before marriage, it wasn't surprising that some sloppiness emerged. I wasn't perfect either. In fact, I found it endearing that Michael, who had always seemed so proper, was showing me this side of himself. It made me feel like we were truly married. However, no matter how often I'd asked Michael to put the laundry in the basket, he never seemed to make an effort. Instead, he started saying, "I'm tired from work. You could do it, right?" Yet, as soon as I began doing it, Michael started taking advantage of me. What about dinner? As soon as Michael got home that day, he demanded his meal. I told you already, dinner's going to be late today because Noah's coming home late, I replied. I didn't hear that. Are you sure you said it? I did say it. No, I definitely didn't hear it. My words seemed to fall on deaf ears, and Michael grew moody. Dealing with his mood swings was becoming increasingly challenging. He would ignore me when I spoke, handle things roughly, and stomp around the house. His behavior was stressing me out, especially his tendency to get upset over minor issues. Initially, I tried to attribute it to fatigue, but as the days went by, it became unbearable, and I found myself speaking up more. Hey, didn't I ask you to stop leaving your bag lying around? Things fall out sometimes, and it's dangerous. If you're going to complain, then you clean it up. I'm tired from working every day, unlike you, a stay-at-home wife who does nothing all day. What? Why are you speaking to me like that? Besides, if I didn't manage the household, there'd be no food or home for you. I thought we agreed I would quit my job. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm your maid. Our conversation went nowhere. Was I at fault here? Did I really deserve to be yelled at like this every time I argued with Michael? I began to doubt my own judgment. He had told me his divorce from his ex-wife was due to personality differences, but now I wondered if there was more to it. Perhaps the problem lay with Michael, and maybe his ex-wife had valid reasons for initiating the divorce. Should I consider divorce myself? The answer was no. I had only just gotten married, and having quit my job, the thought of being single and independent again was daunting. Besides, I worried about Noah. The idea of his father divorcing and remarrying must be stressful for him. For now, I was grateful that Michael didn't raise his voice in front of Noah. It was wrong to think he could behave however he liked in front of me, but at least he maintained a basic level of decency in front of his son. Despite everything, I should endure it. It was my fault for ending up with someone like Michael. That thought began to dominate my mind more and more. About 6 months into our marriage, Michael began arriving home extremely late. While occasional overtime at his company was expected, staying out until past midnight became a frequent occurrence. Whenever he texted me, "I'll be late tonight," might even be past midnight, I couldn't help but wonder what kept him so occupied late into the night. Could he be cheating? It was a thought that crossed my mind often right after we got married, but lacking proof or certainty, I hesitated to confront him. However, there was something that made me doubt he was cheating. Michael started bringing his colleagues home. Among them were Mitch Johnson and Emily Thompson. Mitch exuded charm and was a pleasant young man. Emily, despite our age difference, was delightful to converse with. Both worked in the same department as Michael, so they weren't merely acquaintances. Initially unsure how to interact with them, I soon found us becoming friendlier as they visited more often. "Linda, let me help you with the dishes." "Oh, you don't have to do that." "No, please, I insist since I'm visiting." "Well, in that case, thank you." Emily often pitched in with washing dishes, setting out drinks, and preparing snacks, while Mitch would keep Michael company or help him when he was a bit too tipsy. Their presence made entertaining much easier for me, and I appreciated their assistance. "Mr. Smith, you've had quite a bit to drink. Don't make your wife worry, okay?" "It's fine, she's okay with it." Emily and I would sometimes overhear such exchanges while in the kitchen. Even Michael's past behavior, I had doubted his concern for me, but Emily's remark surprised me. "It's because of the strong bond between you two that he feels comfortable saying such things, right?" "Ha! Mr. Smith often talks about you, you know? He mentions how delicious last night's dinner was and how you always make him feel cared for and at home." I couldn't believe Michael was speaking so positively about me. "Michael talks about me like that?" I asked Emily. "Yes, he talks about home every day. It sounds so enjoyable. I wish I could have a wonderful family like Michael's." "Is that so?" My emotions were mixed. My own home life was far from enjoyable, and I didn't want anyone aspiring to have a family like mine. Yet I understood that Michael had an image to uphold at work. I chose not to reveal the truth and instead quietly listened to Emily's stories. It made sense that from the outside it might seem like a happy home. During dinners together, Michael and Noah would occasionally join our conversations, creating a pleasant atmosphere. Mitch and Emily were always kind to Noah. "Noah's in middle school, right?" "Yes, he's in middle school." "Wow, still so young. You're quite young yourself, aren't you?" I found these exchanges enjoyable. On the days Mitch and Emily visited, I felt a sense of relief. Initially, Michael had brought them over without telling me, which was difficult to accept at first. However, I was glad I hadn't turned them away. Despite their presence, Michael's demeanor remained consistent. Even in the company of his colleagues and under the influence of alcohol, he never seemed to be in a bad mood, which was a relief. "But seriously, my wife, she's totally useless." Drunk, Michael began revealing his true nature. Mitch and Emily seemed to take his words lightly. "Come on, Mr. Smith, what are you joking about? Your wife is a wonderful person, isn't she?" Mitch said with a chuckle. "Right, Emily?" "Yeah, really admirable." "No, you shouldn't admire someone like her. You'll regret it in the future." "Come on, Michael, you're drunk again." Mitch and Emily brushed off Michael's remarks, attributing them to his intoxicated state. They likely assumed he was joking because they had always heard positive things about me at work. I knew they meant no harm. Accustomed to Michael's disparaging comments, I could only quietly smile along with them. Years passed swiftly. Noah graduated from middle school and high school and eventually landed a job at a local company after graduating college in the city. He rented a house nearby instead of moving back in with us, despite my initial suggestion. I respected his desire for independence. Throughout this time, Michael's behavior remained consistent. He had risen to department head, managing more subordinates and showing signs of stress, yet his attitude towards me didn't worsen. I braced myself for his usual venting of stress onto me. Michael frequently hosted Mitch and Emily for drinks, and his late-night returns became more frequent, likely his way of coping with stress. Several more years passed, and one day I received a call from Noah. "Mom, I'm getting married." "Married? Congratulations." I couldn't believe Noah was taking this step. Time really flew by. It seemed like just yesterday he was in middle school. Michael was also happy to hear the news. Wedding preparations began in earnest, with me handling most of the arrangements due to Michael's busy schedule. Mitch and Emily, who had been supportive throughout, were invited to the wedding. They looked sharp and once again helped manage a tipsy Michael. It was embarrassing to have him in such a state at the event, but Mitch and Emily handled it tactfully, especially Emily, who stayed close to Michael throughout the evening. They shared a lot of physical contact, though it was likely just the effect of alcohol. I didn't mind and simply observed their interactions. The morning after the wedding, Michael and I returned home. Clearly drunk, he slept in the back seat throughout the drive. Upon entering the living room, he carelessly threw his bag at me. "Ouch! What are you doing?" I exclaimed, turning to face him. He chuckled, saying, "Hey, housekeeper, take care of this," referring to the scattered documents and planner in his bag. Exhausted and not in the mood to argue, I gathered the papers and returned them to his bag. Among them, I found something unexpected, a filled-in divorce paper with Michael's details. What is this? The sight of the divorce papers hit me like a wave. Michael was already passed out from drinking, but the message was clear. Why was I still trying to make this marriage work? With Noah grown up and married, I didn't need to stay for the family's sake anymore. The realization shattered something inside me. Without hesitation, I took a pen, filled in my part of the divorce papers, and left the house with only what I needed. At the office, I submitted the papers, finalizing the end of my marriage with Michael. It was devastating to realize that he had prepared divorce papers, seemingly wanting to end our relationship despite everything I had invested over the years. Leaving the office, I checked into a motel, overwhelmed with exhaustion. I fell asleep immediately without even showering. The next morning, my phone rang, waking me up. It was Michael calling. "Hello." "Hey, Linda, where are you?" "I'm at a motel." "Why are you at a motel? Come back home." "Home? We're not a couple anymore." "What?" "I submitted the divorce papers. You wanted a divorce, right? Well, now you have it. That divorce paper, it wasn't meant for that." "Then what was it for?" Michael fell silent, leaving me to assume he truly wanted the divorce. "You're not saying anything. Fine, I'll come by later to pick up my things." I hung up, but the calls kept coming. Even when I was out searching for a new place to stay or job opportunities, my phone continued to ring. Just when I thought the calls had stopped, Noah called. I couldn't ignore my son, so I answered immediately. "Noah, what's up?" "Mom, Dad told me you hadn't come home." "Not come home? What, your father and I are divorced? Didn't you hear?" "What? Divorced?" Noah seemed unable to accept the fact that I had filed for divorce. "Why? How could you all of a sudden?" "Your dad." "Well, let's meet and talk about it. Can you come to the house today?" I suggested meeting to discuss the divorce with Noah and Michael in person. Noah agreed, and we arranged to meet after his work to go home together. Michael was visibly surprised to see me return without notice. "Hey Linda, why did you just leave all of a sudden?" I entered the living room and sat on the sofa. Naturally, both Noah and Michael were bewildered. "Yeah, why the sudden decision on divorce?" "Well, because your dad filled out the divorce papers." "What? Dad did?" Noah looked at Michael in shock. Michael appeared uncomfortable and evasive. "Ah, that was not really serious." "I saw your signature on it. It seemed pretty serious to me," I pointed out, and Michael looked down. I had reasons to believe those divorce papers were necessary. You know about Emily Thompson, right?" "What?" I had suspected Michael's affair with Emily from their closeness and excessive physical contact. Initially, I attributed it to drunkenness, but my suspicions grew. To confirm, I peeked at Michael's phone while he slept and found intimate exchanges and photos from a hotel stay with Emily. Hastily, I took pictures of this evidence with my phone. With clear photos of them together in a hotel, there was no denying the affair. Cheating? No, that's not. Don't bother denying it. I had evidence. Evidence. When did you? When you were passed out drunk. When I was passed out. Michael looked frustrated upon hearing this, but soon he started making excuses. But really, I didn't mean to file those divorce papers. Emily told me to write them. I really didn't want to. I never wanted to divorce you, Linda. Oh really? You wanted to keep me as a convenient housekeeper who does everything you say? A convenient woman who won't complain? That's not it. I really didn't want to divorce you. Michael insisted he never intended to end the marriage. Despite his words, the fact that he referred to me as a housekeeper stung. They say the truth comes out when you're drunk, and it did indeed. You know, even if you didn't intend to divorce, signing the papers shows your intention, right? What? Really? You're old enough to understand that, aren't you? Truly embarrassing behavior for an adult. I sighed. So that's that. Oh, and since you were cheating, I'll be seeking alimony from both you and Emily. Alimony? Of course. Don't even think about running away. I'll consult a lawyer and ensure you face the consequences. Michael seemed taken aback by the turn of events. Perhaps he never imagined it would come to this. If he hadn't thrown his bag at me after the wedding, maybe things wouldn't have ended like this. But then again, cheating and such disrespectful behavior are unacceptable. It's a stark reminder of how one action can drastically change the course of life. Following Noah's suggestion, I decided to move in with him and his wife. I worried about being a burden, but he reassured me, saying, "No way. My wife really likes you, and I think she'd be happy to have you with us." Gratefully, I accepted his offer. I packed up my belongings from the house I knew I'd never return to. With Noah's help, I carefully gathered my clothes and my beloved watercolor painting tools into sturdy cases and headed to Noah's house. Even up to the last moment, Michael pleaded, "Please reconsider the divorce. I'm begging you." But after his betrayal, his pleas fell on deaf ears. I felt a genuine sense of relief knowing I was finally free from him. Later, I sought legal counsel and learned I could claim a substantial amount of alimony due to the duration of our marriage. Summoning Michael and Emily to the lawyer's office, I confronted them with the evidence of their affair. Cheating. Emily initially denied it, confused, but when faced with the undeniable proof, she finally admitted to the affair. It was disappointing to see someone I had thought highly of betray my trust like this. Michael, resigned to the situation, offered to pay the alimony. "I'm truly sorry. I'll take responsibility," he said, though I wish he had shown remorse earlier. Eventually, both agreed to the terms of the alimony settlement, and they apologized to me. Whether their regret was genuine or for show, I couldn't discern, but I hoped they would learn from this experience and consider the pain they had caused me. After the meeting, I returned home to Noah's warm welcome and his wife's comforting smile, which eased my weariness. I found a part-time job near their home, initially anxious about returning to work after so long, but the supportive colleagues quickly made me feel at ease. I've been enjoying bonding with Noah's wife over cooking lately. With the divorce settled and alimony secured, I thought I had closure. However, one day, an unexpected encounter stirred things up again. It was Mitch. While shopping at the supermarket, I spotted Mitch, likely on his way home from work. He noticed me and greeted me warmly. "Hey there, long time no see." "Mitch, it's been ages," I replied with a smile, and we caught up briefly. We discussed recent events, work updates, and our dinner plans. However, something seemed amiss about Mitch. He wasn't his usual cheerful self. There was a hint of desperation in his demeanor. Intrigued, I gently probed further. "You seem a bit off today, Mitch. Is everything all right?" "Oh, Mitch hesitated, confirming my suspicion. As I waited for his response, he hesitantly began to open up. "Actually, my girlfriend and I recently broke up." "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Wasn't your girlfriend Emily who used to visit us?" "What? Emily?" I caught myself mid-sentence, but Mitch was already curious. "Did something happen?" he asked. I went on to explain about Emily's involvement with Michael and our subsequent divorce. Mitch was visibly taken aback. "Wait, you got divorced?" "Yeah, it's been a while now." "That explains why I haven't been invited over anymore." "Mr. Smith still talks about his family at work though," Mitch remarked. "He does?" I was surprised Michael still discussed us. I instinctively covered my face with my hands. I had a feeling something was going on between Mr. Smith and Emily. They were always very close, Mitch admitted. "You suspected too, Mitch?" "Yeah, I did." Mitch looked uncomfortable but then straightened up. "I can't forgive Emily and Mr. Smith for this. I'm going to report it to my supervisor." I was shocked that Mitch had also noticed the affair between Emily and Michael. I had thought I was the only one aware. We parted ways that day with Mitch promising to update me on the outcome. A few weeks later, I received a text from Mitch. He had indeed reported Michael and Emily, and the consequences were significant. Both received pay cuts, and Michael was demoted to a regular employee role. After Mitch exposed Michael and Emily's affair, Word spread throughout the company, and they faced considerable disdain from their colleagues. Despite the scandal, Michael remained with the company, perhaps realizing he couldn't easily secure another stable job elsewhere. I wondered how long he could maintain this situation. A year after my divorce and Mitch's revelation, Michael was still there. Both Michael and Emily continued to pay alimony, suggesting they were managing somehow. Mitch, on the other hand, was recognized for his dedication and hard work, resulting in a well-deserved promotion. It was ironic that Michael, who once mentored Mitch, now found himself working under him. I couldn't help but wonder how Michael felt about this reversal of roles, although I hesitated to ask him directly. Nowadays, I live with Noah and his family, working part-time at the supermarket. Starting with shelf stocking, I've since learned to prepare deli items and operate the cash register. Each day brings new challenges, which I appreciate. I've built a strong bond with Noah and his wife, and we often enjoy baking together. I'm grateful for my supportive workplace and loving family, and I continue to embrace life with gratitude and optimism. Kyle is calling for you. Hurry up and get to the hospital. No way. I mean, that kid is. I glance over at my son Mike, deeply engrossed in his studies. There's no reason for me to rush to the hospital for someone I barely know. What are you saying? Mike is right here in front of me, isn't he? Oh, my words seem to finally register with Sam on the other end of the line. Sorry, I thought you meant Mike. Yeah, well, we'll discuss everything when I get home. Sam was clearly caught off guard. Did he really think he could keep it hidden all these years? I know everything, Sam. Hold on. Ignoring Sam's plea, I hung up the phone. Let's get to work, I declared, rolling up my sleeves and standing up. I'm going to make sure they regret this. My name is Kelly. I'm 49 years old and work in an office where I recently received a promotion that reignited my passion for my job. If it weren't for reconnecting with my husband at this company, where I started as a fresh graduate, I might not be married today. Sam was a senior during my college days, but we hardly knew each other then. He was just one of the helpers at the freshman orientation camp I attended. After joining the company, I didn't even remember him for a while, fully immersed in my work. It wasn't until the new employee welcome party that Sam approached me, sparking my memory. Weren't we in the same orientation group in college? Don't you remember? Ha, sorry. It's okay. I always thought you were pretty, even back then. That's how our conversations began, and from the next day, Sam would wave at me whenever we crossed paths. It started with sharing snacks, then lunches, until we began dating. I will make you happy. I want us to date with marriage in mind, Sam confessed about 6 months into our relationship. By then, I was deeply in love with him and gladly accepted. After 2 years of dating and introducing each other to our families, we got married. Our love wasn't fiery, but it was a steady, contented time that only grew happier with the birth of our son Mike. Marrying Sam felt like the best decision of my life. But things started to change when Mike entered middle school. Sam's behavior shifted. He was transferred to a new department, and his workload with overtime and weekend work increased. My department is busier than yours, he'd defend preemptively, even though I hadn't questioned him. It did seem hectic, and I convinced myself he wouldn't have time for an affair. I pushed my doubts aside. Yet Sam's late returns became a recurring issue. Balancing Mike's needs and household chores, I tried to cut back my own work until Mike went to college. When I approached my boss, hoping to reduce my hours, they explained the workload couldn't afford it. I'm quite competent at my job, working twice as hard as others. If I leave now, we'll handle it. My boss suggested remote work and a flexible schedule instead, so I started working from home. When I told Sam, his response shocked me. Well, then you can handle everything at home. I'm too busy, you know? I'm working hard too. I don't mind picking up more slack, but managing everything alone is overwhelming. I argued, but Sam didn't listen. As promised, he started arriving home even later after I began working remotely. Every night, he'd return reeking of alcohol, sometimes with traces of perfume. He must be out drinking with colleagues at nightclubs. I suspected, but I tolerated it. Then one day, I found lipstick on his shirt and confronted him. There's lipstick here. Whose is it? Oh, a woman sat close to me at a party. Maybe it's hers. Are you serious? I was disgusted, not jealous. I thought to myself, from then on, I ignored the lipstick stains on Sam's shirts. 3 years of this, and by the time Mike was a high school senior, any love I felt for Sam had faded. We were more like roommates. Some things are unforgivable, even when love is gone. Where are you going? Just out for a bit. No matter how busy we are, we always have dinner together as a family on Mike's birthday. I'd even made a reservation at a restaurant, I said, but Sam just headed to the door alone. Wait, today is Mike's birthday, you know. So what? It's just the day he was born, Sam replied casually. His words stunned me. He used to cherish anniversaries before we got married, especially celebrating our child's birthday, no matter how old they got. Are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. Oh, okay. Sam left without another glance at me. As soon as the front door closed, tears started flowing. That's it. I want a divorce. The words slipped out, but they echoed my true feelings. Mike and I enjoyed dinner together, then stayed at my parents' house. I didn't contact Sam, and with no calls or messages from him, it seemed he hadn't come home yet. A father who neglects his son's birthday and leaves without notice is better off not being around for Mike's sake. I made my decision and shared it with my parents. They understood after hearing my story. With no intention of returning home, finding a new place became my priority. Fortunately, I earn above average, and since my department primarily works remotely now, working from home poses no inconvenience. I began house hunting while continuing to work. Perhaps buying a house might be a good move. Viewing small, cozy homes filled me with excitement for the first time in a while. Then, one day, I decided to visit a property. Little did I know, this decision would hasten my divorce from Sam. It's a nice place and close to the station, I noted. The area was near the university Mike hoped to attend. Currently, our commute was an hour, so living closer made sense. Mike is striving to get into my alma mater. I don't want to add unnecessary burdens. We'll move once he's in, I thought, pausing at a nearby shopping mall. Hey, wait up. Ha! I instinctively ducked when I heard Sam's voice nearby. He was waving at someone ahead. Curious, I followed his gaze and nearly gasped aloud. Daddy, hurry, hurry. I recognized the woman and a boy about 4 years old. Sam approached them with a gentle smile, a picture-perfect happy family on a holiday outing. It struck me then, the timeline of Sam's detachment and neglect matched the age of the boy. He was Sam's child, and the woman his mistress. I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Despite my fading love for him, I had never imagined he would cheat. But as Mike's mother, I couldn't afford to be shocked and stand still. I discreetly took a photo of the three of them and left. Later, while on the train, I searched for a detective agency and visited one near our house. I need to hire someone to investigate my husband, Sam, and another person, I stated, handing over the photo I had taken earlier. Afterward, I returned home and resumed my usual household tasks. Mom, are you okay? You look pale. I'm just a bit tired. Don't worry about me. I can help. Don't be silly. I'm fine. I couldn't let Mike see my distress. I put on a brave face and smiled. But inside, a rage unlike any I had ever felt was brewing. A few weeks later, the detective contacted me with a completed report. I went to their office and reviewed the documents. As expected, the boy was confirmed to be Sam's child, and he had acknowledged paternity. It was devastating, but among the documents, there was a glimmer of hope, a piece of evidence that would help me send them both to hell. I decided to wait until after Mike's university acceptance before taking action. Over the next few months, I kept the detective monitoring Sam and his mistress closely. It cost money, but that didn't matter. I'd add it to the alimony later. Sam, careless about hiding anything, paraded his mistress and child around various places. The mall visit seemed merely coincidental. Her house was just a few minutes' walk from ours, and it was under Sam's name. A cruel proximity, mocking both Mike and me. Unforgivable, I muttered to myself. I'll make them bow their heads before me and Mike. With that determination, I began formulating my plans, intending to execute them after Mike's university acceptance announcement. I gathered evidence bit by bit, keeping that goal in sight. On the day Mike received his university acceptance, he was studying in the living room, glancing nervously at his computer. I watched him anxiously. It should be any time now. My heart raced as the phone rang. I hurried to answer it. It was Sam on the line. Kyle is calling for you. Hurry up and get to the hospital. No way. After all, that kid is. I glanced at my son studying. There's no reason for me to rush to the hospital for a stranger. What are you talking about? Come quickly. Mike is right here in front of me, isn't he? Uh-oh. It seemed my words finally made Sam realize whom he was calling. Oh, sorry. I thought you were Mike. That's fine. We'll discuss our future when I get home. Sam was left speechless. Did he think he could keep it hidden for these 4 years? I know everything, Kelly. Wait a moment. Ignoring Sam's plea, I hung up. Well then, let's get this done, I said, rolling up my sleeves and standing up. I'm going to make him regret it. After ending Sam's call, Mike turned to me with a smile. Mom, I did it. I got accepted. Really? That's amazing. Well done. Mike and I celebrated, holding hands. Later, as we savored the moment, Mike grew serious and spoke up. Now that I'm accepted into college and not a kid who needs his father anymore, you should divorce Dad. Mike, you knew? Yeah, I knew. I was taken aback by Mike's words. It turned out he had seen Sam and his mistress walking affectionately with a baby on his way back from school. Initially, he thought it was an acquaintance, but after several sightings, he realized it was an affair. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to upset you. Thank you, Mike. Mom, it's okay. I had always seen him as my sweet little boy. But Mike had matured so much. I felt proud yet somewhat ashamed as a parent. At that moment, the front door swung open. I'm home. Sam entered the living room, visibly nervous. Both Mike and I regarded him with cold stares. Sam, he froze in his tracks, attempting to act nonchalant. Sam forced a smile and turned to Mike. So, studying hard? Which college are you aiming for? Sam seemed oblivious that Mike was already in his senior year. Mike's gaze hardened even more. Sensing the tension, Sam snapped, What's with that look? I'm your father who supports us, Mom. Actually, I've been pitching in, Mike interjected calmly. Flustered, Sam looked at Mike, who pointed to his computer. I got accepted to university today. Oh right, you're at that age now. How did it go? Do you need me to? Sam was clearly caught off guard by Mike's assertiveness, gaping at him. Anyway, why are you back? Mom and I are going out for dinner. You should go to your mistress and her kid. You knew? Sam stood there, stunned that his secret was out despite living so close. Mike looked at him with disdain. A father who doesn't cherish Mom isn't much of a father. From now on, I'll take care of Mom. You should agree to a clean divorce, Mike declared. Sam, visibly shaken by the suggestion of divorce, turned to me for support. But there was no way I would help him. If you can at least pay for college, there's no reason for us to stay married. Sam broke down in tears, kneeling before me. I've never seen a less sympathetic heroine, I said coldly, looking down at him. Mom, I want steak for dinner. Sounds good, but as we discussed dinner plans, Sam suddenly perked up. I know a great place. Let's celebrate and make amends. I couldn't understand why I should reconcile with a man who betrayed me. Mike seemed to share my sentiments. Didn't you hear? Mom and I are going alone. That's right, and I'd rather not go to a place you took them. Sam, unaware that his secret was out, looked at us in surprise. The detective had informed me about the restaurant Sam frequented, so I knew exactly where he was suggesting. Why should we go to the place you took your mistress? It's distasteful and bad luck. My words clearly irked Sam, but he stood by his suggestion. Sam's face flushed red with anger as he glared at me and started shouting, It's because of your attitude that Mike is distant with me. You're to blame for how he turned out. Who do you think raised him? I shot back, giving Sam an even colder stare. That was me. Well, mostly me, but, to clarify, I had been covering Mike's school fees, tutoring, and living expenses since he started middle school. Sam stopped contributing to household expenses around that time. Initially, I reminded him, but after months of no response, I gave up. If you claim to have contributed, then pay the overdue expenses for school and housing for the period since your son started middle school. I can't afford that kind of money, but you've been living a luxurious life. I retrieved an envelope from the drawer and handed it to Sam, containing his bank statements. Managing our finances has been my responsibility since we married. While not monthly, I have been updating it more frequently recently, so I knew everything about Sam's finances. You spend most of your salary each month and have debts, right? I won't take on that burden. But isn't marriage about supporting each other? That's why we're divorcing. You can't be serious, Sam stammered, his face draining of color. Mike and I then escorted Sam out, locked the door, and ended the chapter. Goodbye then. Wait, you can't just lock me out of the house. Dodging Sam as he tried to cling to me, I got into the car. Mike approached Sam with a smile. You're in the way. Cars need to pass through here. What kind of son talks to his father like that? That's because I don't have a father anymore. Hey, with a smile, Mike bid farewell and climbed into the car. Ignoring the dumbfounded Sam, I started the car and drove towards the sushi restaurant. A few days later, Sam hadn't shown up. There was much to sort out with the divorce and dividing assets, but for now, it was back to work. Just as I settled at the computer, I heard a high-pitched voice from the courtyard. Hey, I know you're there. Come out and talk to me. Reluctantly, I stood up. I knew who the visitor was. Please don't be so loud. It's disturbing the neighbors. You wouldn't come out, that's why. The unapologetic woman was Juliana, one of the new trainees I had once supervised and Sam's mistress. Aren't you supposed to be at work today? What are you doing here on a workday? I took a day off. I needed to talk to you. Twirling her hair, Juliana looked triumphant. I'm taking Sam. You don't deserve him. And guess what? I'm pregnant with our second child. She rubbed her belly. I felt a headache coming on. Do you have any idea about Sam's financial situation? Excuse me. Juliana looked at me, bewildered. I showed her Sam's bank statement, the same one I had shown him earlier. Juliana skimmed through it and burst into laughter. Stop kidding, Kelly. I know he's saved up much more. What are you talking about? Still laughing, Juliana dropped a bombshell. Sam told me that after the divorce, he's giving the house to me and I'll get a hefty sum from the property division. So, that's the plan. But Sam seems to be forgetting something crucial. I confronted Juliana with the truth. Unfortunately, this house is in my name. Since he hasn't contributed to household expenses and had an affair, the divorce will be his fault, and there won't be any property division. Plus, he'll have to pay alimony. Juliana was stunned. Her laughter turned to disbelief. I clarified it for her. This house was originally my family home that we renovated, so Sam has no rights to it. And with alimony and the debts he incurred from his affair with you, there won't be much left for him. It can't be true. Juliana, in denial, quickly made a phone call. As soon as the other party answered, she shouted into the phone. Hey, this isn't what you promised. You said everything would be mine, right? Right now, I'm at Kelly's. Sorry, can you talk to him? What? Wait, thinking it was pointless, I grabbed the phone from Juliana. It was Sam on the line. I spoke calmly. How much more trouble are you going to cause? Kelly, it's not what you think. It's because... That's enough. Another child, really? You're busy with another child? Sam seemed unaware of the pregnancy. After a moment of shock, he quickly said he would come over and hung up. Juliana, upon hearing Sam was coming, was overjoyed. Sam's coming. Great. He said we couldn't meet for a while. Kyle misses him, and I really want him to come home. Where is Kyle now? Huh? He's at daycare today. Juliana seemed puzzled by my question about the child, looking slightly annoyed. I heard he fell off the balcony. Oh, just a fracture. You left a 4-year-old alone. Got a problem with that, Juliana responded defiantly, eyeing me suspiciously. Then she cheerfully spoke up. Come on, how long are you going to make a pregnant woman wait outside? Make me some tea in the living room. I obliged her audacious request and prepared the tea just as Sam entered the room. Juliana, oh Sam, I'm negotiating right now. Just wait. I'll get the house. Not happening, Juliana. You're too late, Sam retorted. Juliana leaned on Sam and wrapped her arms around him, attempting to assert her presence, but I felt no envy. Sorry, but I'm not giving up the house. Besides, if I leave, this place will be too big for you alone, don't you think? Who in their right mind gives their family home to their husband and his mistress? Sam looked embarrassed at my pointed words. Juliana quickly interjected. The house we're in now is too small for me, Kyle, Sam, and the baby. You only have your son, right? Give it to us. Her audacity, even during this confrontation, surprised me. Growing tired of their antics, I laid out several photos in front of them. Juliana's face turned pale as she looked at them. Did you follow me? Of course, you're my husband's mistress. That doesn't give you the right to take these photos. Juliana tried to hide the photos, but it was too late. Sam, with a flushed face, grabbed one and confronted her. What's this? Ha! That's just a friend. You go to the hospital arm in arm with a male friend? The photo clearly showed Juliana happily arm in arm with a young man leaving the doctor's office, looking like a couple. I calmly filled in the details. He works at a nightclub and you're his client, right? How do you know that? And you've been to a motel with him several times. That means the second child is. Before I could finish, Sam stood up, turning to Juliana. I didn't know you were so promiscuous. Kyle isn't even my child, is he? It's over. I'm divorcing you. What about the money? He's not my child, so why would I give anything to her? As Sam and Juliana began to argue, I couldn't help but smile. Then, misunderstanding something, Sam gave me a sickening smile. This was all a moment of madness. Now that it's clear he's not my son, it's over with her so we can start over, right? What are you talking about? Shut up. Get out. Juliana, also infuriated by Sam's selfishness, resisted with a red face. Amidst this, I spoke calmly. That's impossible. I never want to see your face again. Don't say that. I physically can't stand it. Just seeing your face makes me feel sick. Sam seemed utterly shocked by my words and froze. Then, I turned on the laptop I had left on the edge of the table. Smiling at them, I said, "Here are the witnesses to your affair." "What? Mom?" Juliana also exclaimed in surprise. "Mom, I had actually connected them by phone earlier to discuss future plans." Juliana interrupted as I was about to have a work call. "What? Mom, I've heard everything. After all Kelly has done for you, you're a disgrace. Don't ever set foot in her house again." That's it. Sam, firmly cut off from his family, left the room without any energy to argue for reconciliation. "Mom, wait, I can explain. I didn't raise you to be a home wrecker. You'll be staying at your uncle's farm from tomorrow." "What? No way." Juliana's uncle runs a dairy farm, a place where people work almost continuously without breaks. I felt a bit sorry that she had to go to such a place. A part of me thought she got what she deserved. She ended up crying on the spot, and her mother came to pick her up. After everyone left and quiet returned, it was already evening. I sighed with relief. Although I'm on a flexible schedule, I prepared for a late night of overtime. I'm home. Welcome back. Hey, how about pasta for dinner? Sounds good. Where shall we go? As soon as Mike returned, we began looking for a restaurant. Finally, everything felt over. Later, Sam and I divorced through our lawyers. He apparently also broke up with Juliana. My in-laws apologized profusely, making me feel guilty for their plight. We agreed to continue our relationship, which brought them to tears. Sam paid alimony for his affair and half of Mike's college fees. It seems he further indebted himself and hasn't been seen around lately. I've received my due, so his whereabouts no longer concern me. It might sound cold-hearted, but that's truly how I feel, and I can't change that. Juliana was taken to her uncle's farm by her relatives. She's up at dawn every day, working hard under her uncle's supervision. She left the company shortly after, and many are relieved that her absence has improved efficiency in Sam's department. Her children are being raised by her parents, and both are said to be thriving. Thankfully, Kyle's injury wasn't serious, and he's now running around as usual, which is a huge relief. Sam was dumped as soon as his money ran out. Mike has successfully entered his first choice university and is studying hard. He plans to start working soon to help with finances, which almost brought me to tears. As for me, I'm still dedicated to my job. A project I proposed was accepted, and I'm enjoying my busy life as its lead. Also, I've been approached by a man from the project's partner company who is 10 years younger and has been patiently waiting for my divorce. I've told him about Mike and my lack of interest in remarriage, but he's willing to wait. We've been enjoying meals together, and I find our time very pleasant. Our tastes in food match perfectly, which is quite endearing. Mike even suggested considering remarriage with him, so I'm thinking about it more seriously now. Mom, are we going to be late? We need to hurry. We have a restaurant reservation, a gift for my mother-in-law to celebrate Mike's college acceptance. Mom, I'm excited. Me too. We laughed and got into the car, hoping this happiness would last. With that thought, I drove us to the restaurant. During her hospital stay, Mia, despite being on a restricted diet, smuggled a large stash of snacks into her room and devoured them voraciously. If you continue like this, it could be life-threatening, I admonished her. Mia shot back angrily. If you bothered to cook healthy meals for me, maybe I wouldn't be so sick. Stop blaming me. With venom in her voice, she added, Mr. Perfect Daddy thinks he can lecture me. Maybe you should just divorce and disappear, she spat, her eyes blazing with resentment. Later, when I returned to the car, I saw missed calls from Tom. I recounted the argument with Mia, only to be met with a furious response. Maya is unwell. You should be more supportive. I hung up without a word. Seeking some distance, I checked into a hotel to gather my thoughts. But then, after receiving a certain photo from Anna, my resolve shifted. Maya, I'll grant your wish for a divorce. But before that, I'll expose your dear daddy's true colors. Just wait. My name is Katie, a 45-year-old housewife. I married Tom, my former colleague, 5 years ago. Lost in my career throughout my 30s, Tom joined my department 7 years ago and pursued me relentlessly. After 2 years of dating, we became a couple. Tom had divorced his ex-wife due to infidelity and had a daughter named Mia, in elementary school then. Concerned voices surrounded me, but when I met Mia during our engagement, she was innocent and adorable, sparking my joy at the prospect of having a child. Despite no blood relation, I resolved to care for her. Yet my determination soon wavered. By our wedding, Mia, then in 6th grade, loved games, music, and constant snacking. She would sprawl on the living room couch, absorbed in games and music, always munching. Despite 3 meals daily, her constant snacking was excessive. Eating 2 pancakes, 2 bags of chips before dinner, followed by a hearty meal of fried chicken and 2 bowls of rice, even for a growing child, was clearly too much. Since she wasn't involved in any sports clubs, Maya naturally had a plump body. Maya, I think you're eating too much. It's not good for your health. I often reminded her. She tended to skip vegetables and favored greasy or meaty dishes. When I finally couldn't hold back and cautioned her, she wrinkled her face in annoyance. Shut up. You're not my real mom, so just leave me alone. Her sharp retort stung. Your cooking's okay, but you should fix your nagging. Dad might dump you. I shared my concerns with Tom, hoping for support, but he just chuckled. She's going through a rebellious phase. It'll pass. But Maya eats a lot. I worry it's affecting her health. I pleaded. She gets upset when there's no food, so I keep snacks stocked, but she devours them quickly. She doesn't like low-calorie snacks like dried fruits or rice cakes. I had a big appetite as a kid too. It settles down by 30. Don't worry, Tom reassured me with a laugh, looking down at his slim frame. But his years in the college basketball club meant his metabolism was different. Despite my concerns, Tom, who did it on Mia, wouldn't listen. Soon, Maya entered middle school and fell in with a troublesome crowd. She started staying out late after band concerts, and before tests, she and her friends got piercings, her style becoming increasingly bold. You're still in middle school. Piercing your nose and lips at home is reckless, I scolded Mia firmly. You need parental consent if you're under 18. There's a risk of infection, Mia. Tom, ever relax, stood by her side. Relax, Katie. It's not a big deal. Maya and her friends are fine with it. That's not the point. You might think it's fashionable, but it's risky, I insisted, frustrated. Maya turned to Tom for support. Dad understands, right? Of course, Mia. You look great no matter what, Tom replied, flashing a reassuring smile. His indulgent demeanor left me exasperated. Maya continued to neglect her studies in high school, prioritizing games and music. Predictably, she struggled with her entrance exams, barely making it into the state's lowest-ranked school. Shortly after starting school, Maya began experiencing frequent illnesses. She complained of fatigue, stomach aches, nausea, and occasional fevers. A visit to the local clinic initially diagnosed her symptoms as stress related to school. Though I agreed at first, as her condition persisted, I urged Mia to see a specialist at a general hospital. I hate needles and tests. They're too harsh on me, Maya protested, with Tom siding with her. Let's wait and watch a bit longer before rushing into anything. Concerned about the seriousness of Mia's symptoms, I argued, but what if it's something more serious? We're both at work during the day. What if something happens when we're not around? Maya dismissively replied, then you should quit your job. If Katie takes care of me, you won't have to worry. She can take me to the hospital if needed. I was momentarily stunned. Maya is your daughter too, Tom. Don't be so indifferent just because she's not your biological child. Maya chimed in, exactly. Besides, Dad makes more money than you, so your job doesn't matter. Feeling disheartened, as much as I cherished my work, I reluctantly resigned. From then on, Maya's demands on me grew. As soon as she returned from school, it began. Oh no, I forgot to buy pudding. Go to the cake shop by the station. Massage my legs, they're sore. And my shoulders and back too. What's this? Stew. I want sweet and sour pork instead. Throw this out and make it. Her demands intensified when she wasn't feeling well. Claiming she couldn't sleep, she would summon me to her room in the middle of the night to discuss trivial matters. That girl in my class is such a teacher's pet. It's annoying. Hey, are you listening? Don't fall asleep. She even expected me to cure her headaches. Tom, can't you talk to Mia about this? Exhausted from lack of sleep and emotional strain, I pleaded with him. I understand she needs support when she's sick, but this is becoming too much for me. Tom sighed deeply. You're Maya's mother now. You need to handle it. Kids' demands can be endearing, right? Why don't you take over on weekends then? I implored. Tom shrugged helplessly. I work to support us. Can't you see that? At least try to fulfill our daughter's wishes with a smile. Then can't you come home earlier? I argued desperately. You've been working overtime and traveling a lot lately. Can't you spend more time with Mia? No way. I'm busy. Maya is your responsibility, Tom said firmly, showing little interest in becoming more involved. My feelings of isolation and mistrust deepened. Even Tom, usually laid back, grew concerned as Maya's condition persisted for over a year. A colleague suggested that Maya's symptoms might indicate a liver problem. We should get her properly checked at the hospital. I insisted. Despite my persistent urging, Tom had always been reluctant. But a single comment from a coworker suddenly changed his mind. Exasperated, I accompanied them both to the hospital. Following a thorough examination, Maya was diagnosed with cirrhosis. She has jaundice and ascites. It's currently at grade B, severe but not immediately life-threatening, the doctor explained solemnly. Why did you wait so long to get her checked? I asked, feeling a mix of anger and helplessness. Both Tom and Mia, typically carefree, now looked ashamed. It appears the cirrhosis stemmed from hepatitis C. Any idea how this could have happened? For instance, sharing ear-piercing equipment without proper sterilization. Maya gasped in realization, her face twisting with regret. Will she require surgery? Tom inquired anxiously. The doctor responded calmly. First, she needs hospitalization for nutritional support and monitored exercise. If untreated, it could progress to liver cancer. A liver transplant may be necessary once her condition stabilizes. Got it, I said, seeing Mia off to her hospital room with a nurse. On the drive home, Tom spoke up. Let's register for a living donor liver transplant. Waiting for a donor could worsen Maya's condition. Agreed, I replied. Katie, I'm counting on you to register too, Tom said, studying my profile intently. You'll do it, won't you? I can't handle the pain, I stammered in disbelief. Donors can face complications like bowel obstructions or ulcers. It would be a risk, especially since I'm the main provider, Tom explained. That's true, but is it all right for me to be the donor? I wanted to ask. Don't worry, it's usually not life-threatening. The liver regenerates even after partial removal, so it's not a big deal. Tom's cheerful reassurance left me uneasy. But I couldn't stand idly by as Maya's condition worsened. After undergoing compatibility tests and being confirmed as a match, I registered as a liver donor. As Maya's health improved, I prepared myself for the transplant. Despite my fear, as Maya's mother, even without a biological tie, I was determined to support her in every possible way. One day, after some time had passed, the hospital called. Maya's condition had stabilized and they wanted to schedule the liver transplant surgery. Knowing Maya's reluctance towards me, I insisted the doctor keep my role as the donor a secret. With the surgery date set, I underwent final tests at the hospital. On my way back, I stopped in Maya's room and was shocked. Despite being on a restricted diet, she had stocked up on snacks from the hospital store and was devouring them. I lost my temper and scolded her sternly. Do you realize the seriousness of your condition? This could be life-threatening if you continue like this. You need to take your health seriously. Mia, crumbs falling from her mouth, lashed out. It's your fault. If you had cooked healthier meals and snacks over these past years, I wouldn't be sick. Take responsibility. Her accusation hit me like a blow. You're the one who always demanded high-calorie meals and snacks, I retorted firmly. Maya sneered. You're always controlling everything. It's infuriating. She muttered bitterly. I don't need you anymore. I don't even want to see you. Just a parasite acting all high and mighty. Get a divorce and disappear. Her words pierced me deeply, leaving me numb and distant. Fine, I replied quietly and left her room. When I returned to the car, I saw missed calls from Tom. I recounted my exchange with Mia. only to be met with furious yelling. Why are you being so obtuse? Maya is ill, and you should be more supportive. What if her condition worsens due to stress? I felt miserable. Why do I have to endure this? Without saying another word, I hung up and drove away from the parking lot. Back home, I packed essentials into my suitcase and left the house. I needed a break from them both, so I checked into a hotel for some space. The next day, I met my friend Anna at a cafe and confided in her about Tom and Mia. Anna grimaced. Actually, she began, hesitating briefly. After a moment, she showed me a picture on her phone. I gasped involuntarily. You should investigate this thoroughly. You're right, I replied tensely and had Anna send the picture to my phone. As I looked at it, a surge of intense anger washed over me, heating my entire body. Maya, I'll grant your wish for a divorce, but before that, I'm going to reveal your beloved daddy's true face. Just wait. After leaving Anna, I headed straight to a real estate agency and signed a weekly rental apartment contract. I arranged for movers to transfer all my belongings there and secured a full-time job, starting immediately. I had been ignoring Tom's calls and messages, but 3 days later, I found 50 missed calls on my phone when I returned home. Reluctantly, I called him back, and he immediately launched into a tirade. Where are you? Why haven't you come home? And why did you suddenly send divorce papers? That's none of your concern, I retorted coldly to Tom's barrage of questions, which only seemed to anger him further. Don't play games with me. You're Maya's mother, aren't you? And now you're refusing to donate your liver for her transplant. Get to the hospital and re-register immediately. No, I won't be donating anymore, I stated firmly. I heard Tom sigh heavily over the phone. Being so stubborn over a petty argument is childish. At your age, it's embarrassing. Say what you want. Do you even care about Mia? Maya and I are strangers. I haven't found her cute since we got married. I finally voiced what I'd been holding back. Have you filed the divorce papers? I can't do that. If we divorce, you won't be legally related anymore, and the donor process will be halted. Tom sounded irritated, prompting a sigh from me. Why are you fixating on me? As her biological father, you should be the donor. Tom dismissed my suggestion with annoyance. I've told you I can't handle the pain, and there are risks of complications, right? Yes, that's true. Then count me out. Besides, Maya's condition isn't immediately life-threatening. If you're not willing, we'll have to wait until another donor is available. Fine. I realized his concern was more about himself than his daughter. Tom's stubbornness left me disillusioned. I'll visit Maya's room next week. We need to talk. With that, I ended the call. True to my word, a week later I entered Maya's hospital room. As soon as she saw me, she erupted in anger. You stupid old hag. Don't just do what you want, but talk to the doctor and re-register as a donor. I felt disheartened. Was this how you ask someone for a favor? Both father and daughter lacked basic manners. No way. You were the one who told me you didn't need me and to leave? I didn't mean it like that, Maya stammered, attempting to justify herself. I don't want you two to split up because of me. Right, Dad? You don't want to divorce Katie, do you? Though she usually referred to me disrespectfully, now she used my name. Maya looked at Tom with pleading eyes, and he nodded vigorously. Of course not. I want us to stay together as a happy family. Tom forced a smile, nodding in agreement. I then pulled out photos and an investigative report from my bag. Is that so? Because it seems Mia already has another happy family. Maya's face paled as she glanced at the photos. Maya, you've been seeing them behind my back. Tom's voice was filled with anger, and Maya struggled to respond. Well. Tom slammed the photos onto the table in the hospital room. They showed a woman with a figure similar to Mia's, a tall man in a suit, and Maya enjoying a meal at a restaurant, likely taken discreetly from a nearby table. Another photo captured the three walking down a bustling street, holding upscale shopping bags with joyful expressions. How did you find out I was meeting my mom and her new husband? Hiring a detective is so sneaky. Maya snapped at me. When I was tidying your room, I noticed all those expensive brand name bags. I couldn't figure out how you were affording them without a job, I explained calmly. None of your business. Maya shot back, glaring at me. I can't ignore it. I'm your mother, after all, I replied with a smile, which only deepened Maya's scowl. Sometimes when you came home late, you smelled like perfume. Your story about dinner with friends didn't add up. Tom looked puzzled and Maya sulked. You usually come home after I've showered, and on weekends, you return after midnight, I added. Oh, right. Tom scratched his head, chuckling awkwardly. I was suspicious, so I hired a detective. I'm relieved you weren't hanging out with the wrong crowd. Mind your own business, Maya muttered. Dad, I'm sorry, Mom insisted, and I couldn't say no. Maya tried to smooth things over using a sweet, conciliatory tone. Tom forced a smile and said, I understand. But the smile vanished when I played the audio recording. Mom, Dad is so stingy. He works at a big company, but my allowance is only $200 a month. Can you believe that? It disappears as soon as I buy one outfit. I hate living like this. Just bear with it for now and marry a rich guy like your new husband. A voice similar to Mia's spoke, and a man's voice agreed. Come live with us, Mia. I'll buy you anything you want. But if I move, I won't see my friends. Plus, leaving Dad alone would be sad, right? He has no friends at all. You're so sweet not wanting to leave your dad. The woman replied before they all burst into laughter. Tom's face turned crimson. Maya paled and shrunk into the bed. Maya, this is really serious, Tom finally said after a long silence. You know your mom cheated with that guy, and that's why we divorced. Yet you've been meeting them in secret. Tom's voice was calm, but his eyes betrayed his anger, making Maya visibly uneasy. But Mom's new husband is really nice. He buys me whatever I want and takes me to fancy places. Honestly, I think Mom made the right choice marrying him, Maya blurted out, her panic causing her to dig herself deeper. Even when I ask Dad for something, he complains about taking me out to a sushi place. He works at a big company, so why do we have money? It's not like he gambles, Maya snapped, her frustration evident. Tom's face twisted with anger. That's not your concern. And your cirrhosis. It's because you've been eating lavish meals behind my back. From now on, you're forbidden to see them. Maya retorted defiantly, you don't know the law. Even if you're divorced, children have the right to see their parents. I thought marrying this woman would mean a higher salary and a luxurious life. But all I get is a measly allowance, no dining out, and a nagging old lady. There's no point in staying at home. So that's what you were thinking when you sweet-talked me during our engagement. I interjected, feeling a sense of clarity wash over me. I let out a faint smile as Tom, next to me, wore a smug expression while speaking to Mia. Listen, I work hard, sweating and stressing to support you. Do you think I enjoy overtime and business trips? But Mia, I'm saving money for your future. Isn't that more important than luxury? I stared at Tom intently as he tried to reason with Mia. What's going on? He asked, puzzled by my smile. The other day, I spoke to your boss. We used to work in the same department, so we know each other well, I explained calmly. Yeah, so. I asked if there was any way to reduce your overtime, weekend work, and business trips because you're hardly ever home, I continued, watching Tom's eyes start to dart around nervously. My boss said our department is quiet right now. There's hardly any overtime or weekend work and certainly no business trips. We leave on time every day, I revealed, tapping my phone to display images and placing several photos and an investigation report from my bag next to Mia. Mia's eyes widened as she snatched the report from my hand. As she read through it, her expression turned to one of fury, hands shaking as she held the document. In the report, it says you're a regular at a girls' bar in the entertainment district, going there 4 times a week after work. You even bought an apartment for a 20-year-old waitress and sometimes escort her to work. Every few months, you take trips together. It's like you're living together. Do you have any sense that your wife and daughter are waiting for you at home? Maya read aloud, her voice low but filled with anger. It's none of your business how I spend my salary, Tom grumbled with a sullen face. I'm helping her with college expenses and giving her tips. It's like supporting a hard-working girl, just like volunteering. I chuckled at Tom's audacious remark. She lives in the same apartment complex as Anna. People have been gossiping about them shopping together at the local supermarket or getting cozy in the lobby. They think we make a handsome couple, Tom quipped. Don't be ridiculous. No one would believe that, I retorted with a mocking laugh. They see it as pathetic, an older man fawning over a girl young enough to be his daughter. You're becoming a laughingstock. It's not just anger I feel, it's utter disbelief. Tom's eyes narrowed sharply. Don't call it love. It's disgusting. Maya grimaced in disgust and spat out. Seriously, Dad? Falling for someone my age? There's something wrong with you. Shut up. Let me love whoever I want. Maya retorted defiantly. Seeing both Maya and I bristling with anger, Tom spoke passionately. She wants to marry me after she graduates. Be happy for me, Mia. You'll have a young and beautiful stepmom. Tom grinned, but Maya sighed deeply, clearly distressed. Dad, wake up. She's just using you for your money. I don't want a stepmom who's only 3 years older than me. It's ridiculous. It doesn't matter. Even if you don't approve, we're getting married, Tom calmly replied to Mia's angry outburst. No, Mia, you're more important. But with a healthy liver, you'll be fine on your own, Tom assured her. Maya shot me a sharp look. That's right. I don't care if you divorce, but give me your liver first. She got off the bed, approached me, and grabbed my arm with surprising strength for a sick person. The liver regenerates even after part of it is removed, right? So stop being selfish and give it to me. Legally, you're my mother, so fulfill your duty. At least be useful for once in your life, you useless jerk. After everything I've done for you and your dad over the past 5 years, now you're resorting to threats like this? I said in exasperation. Tom sneered. Are you afraid of the surgery, Katie? You're nothing but a coward and a hypocrite. Pathetic. As I've said before, why don't you step up then? I shot back. Maya jumped to Tom's defense. Dad wasn't a match, so he couldn't. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, Mia. Tom apologized, clasping his hands together. Frustrated, I pressed play on the recording app. I told you I can't handle pain, and there are risks of complications, right? Yes, that's correct. Then count me out. Moreover, Maya's condition isn't immediately life-threatening. If you're unwilling, we'll wait for another donor. Maya listened puzzledly to the sound that played. What? Those were Dad's true feelings. He never even went through the compatibility test. If you don't believe me, ask the doctor, I said awkwardly. Maya turned to look at Tom. Tom was sweating profusely, his mouth opening and closing as he struggled to come up with an excuse. In the end, he cares more about himself than his own daughter. No, that's not. Maya's eyes quickly filled with tears. That's cruel. I trusted only you, Dad. Maya's voice quivered, but Tom's response was even more callous. But I prefer slimmer girls. Mia, you keep eating like your mom and gaining weight. Besides, you got sick because of your own actions. Tom's lips pursed as he scratched his cheek, showing no fatherly concern. Hey, why not ask your mom? She's blood-related, so it should be possible. Tom clapped his hands as if struck by a brilliant idea, causing Mia to frown. Dad, did you forget? Mom has diabetes and high blood pressure, so it's impossible from the start. Oh, right. Tom seemed to have completely forgotten about his ex-wife's health issues. Tom and Maya exchanged looks before finally kneeling in front of me. Please, Katie, donate your liver to Mia. I absolutely refuse to do it. You're her last hope. As your daughter, I'm begging you to do it willingly. If you refuse, I'll tell everyone in the hospital how your new wife mistreated me. I shouted over their heads. How many times do I have to say it? I will never register as a donor for you again. I've been treated like a servant, insulted, and now you want my liver too. Absolutely not. Are you still holding a grudge? You're impossible. Frustrated, I grabbed a bag of snacks from under the bed and marched to the hallway, pushing Mia's hand away as she tried to grab it. Then I called out to the nurse's station. Maya is eating chips again. Before I finished, a nurse rushed over and sternly confronted Mia. Miss Miller, how many times do I have to tell you to stop? At this rate, even if we find a donor, the transplant won't be possible. I'm sorry. And you, sir, please pay more attention and act like a father for once. Watching Maya and Tom with their heads down, I left the room with a resigned smile. Despite the doctor's orders, Maya had been sneaking snacks and juices instead of sticking to her prescribed hospital diet. Her test results had worsened, leading to prolonged treatments and forcing her to take a leave of absence from school. Meanwhile, Tom repeatedly refused to undergo compatibility testing, much to Maya's growing frustration. You lavish money and love on your affair partner but neglect me. Forget it. I won't rely on you anymore. No means no. Just wait patiently until a donor shows up. Is that what a parent should say? Unbelievable. Their daily arguments echoed loudly through the hospital room, further straining their already fractured relationship. Later, Tom signed and returned the divorce papers promptly. I filed them with the courthouse, and the divorce was finalized. The substantial alimony payment of $20,000, a consequence of his affair with the waitress from the girls' bar, was deposited into my account, bringing me a sense of relief. Yet new challenges emerged. Despite our divorce, Tom persistently sought reconciliation. He knew where I worked, waiting for me at the nearest station after work, pleading to start over. Katie, I need you. Let's try again. Maya's medical bills are mounting, and after paying you alimony, my savings are depleted, Tom pleaded. You spent your savings on your affair partner, didn't you? Why not ask her for help? I retorted coldly. She dumped me when she found out I was married. Maya won't speak to me either. I'm so alone, he lamented, bringing it on himself. After I threatened to call the police if he continued to harass me, Tom finally ceased his unwanted advances. Subsequently, his affair with the 20-year-old became public knowledge at his workplace, tarnishing his reputation. Now, he navigates work under a cloud of scrutiny and distrust. When Maya updated her mother on her hospitalization, she recounted her grievances against me, bitterly lamenting my withdrawal from the donor registry. In response, her mother sent a terse, disappointed message. I never thought you'd be someone who can appreciate others. I'm disappointed in you. While I once considered reconciling, let's leave that in the past. Be good to your dad. Upon reading it, Maya burst into tears, venting her frustrations on the nursing staff, fading a reputation as the ward's troublemaker. With no new donors stepping forward since my withdrawal, Maya's past habits of overeating and drinking worsened her condition. Though she eventually adhered to a strict diet, it was too late. Doctors now warn her of imminent liver cancer, leaving her living in constant fear and sorrow at the hospital. Over these 5 years, I've come to a profound realization. Some people will never value your efforts, no matter how hard you try. Despite the hardships, there were also silver linings. A supportive colleague became my pillar during tough times, blossoming into something more. After dating, we remarried, celebrating with a heartfelt home party where Anna and my parents warmly welcomed my new husband's genuine kindness. Determined to build a happy family this time, I cherish every moment with this wonderful man by my side. Look at this. Isn't it a fantastic clock? It's a housewarming gift. Please accept it. With these words, Amanda handed me a large wrapped item, which I hurriedly took even before stepping inside. Amanda, standing at the entrance, was beaming at me with a big smile. As she said, inside was indeed a clock. It was a wooden wall clock, adorned with a small birdhouse on top of the dial. I imagined pigeons or little birds popping out at certain times. I thanked her and accepted the gift, but then something sparkling caught my eye. Drawn by the glimmer, I stared at it intently. Suddenly, a wave of anger surged through me. Acting on impulse, I swung the clock with both hands and smashed it against a garden stone right in front of my startled mother-in-law, Amanda. My name is Jennifer. I'm 30 years old, working in administrative tasks at a factory. My father works there too, and he always said that manufacturing isn't just about on-site work. It's also supported by those behind the scenes. Perhaps influenced by this, I've been drawn to behind-the-scenes roles since childhood. During school festivals, when we put on plays, I would manage props rather than act, and I also managed the baseball team in my club activities. I might not have been in the spotlight, but there were always people who noticed me. Their simple thank yous made me feel valued. That's why I aimed for an administrative position when job hunting. Initially inspired by my admiration for my father, I wanted to work in administration at a factory. However, those positions favored people with specialized knowledge or experience, and I couldn't secure a job at my desired places. My first job was an administrative position at a retail store, but I couldn't let go of my dream to work in a factory. While working, I studied machinery extensively and prepared for a career change. After 3 years, I gained enough experience to aim for a new job. Fortunately, I was hired for an administrative position at a factory of my choice and now handle behind-the-scenes tasks there every day. It was at this workplace that I met Daniel, my future husband. Daniel is a senior colleague who works on site, 2 years older than me. Despite working behind the scenes, I always had great respect for the on-site workers. Daniel, in particular, was always cheerful no matter how busy he got, lifting the spirits of the entire workplace. He was very dedicated to his work and considerate towards both on-site and administrative staff. We grew closer after sitting next to each other at the company's year-end party. We bonded over discussions about machinery and manufacturing. I enjoyed learning from Daniel, who had a deeper knowledge than I did. It didn't take long for our relationship to blossom. 2 years into dating, we took our first trip together to Hawaii, a place I had always wanted to visit. On the last day of the trip, Daniel proposed to me at a restaurant in our hotel. It happened after we finished our dessert during a fancy full-course dinner commemorating our last night there. I'm so full. This really has been the best trip from start to finish, I said. For the final part, Daniel said, raising his hand to call the waiter. To my surprise, a cake was brought out. Ha! We just had dessert, didn't we? I gasped, covering my mouth. Written on the cake was, "Will you marry me?" Right there, Daniel got down on one knee and opened a ring box, revealing a diamond ring. "Will you marry me?" I was so overwhelmed hearing those words directly from Daniel that I couldn't speak. I could only nod with tears streaming down my face. There was applause from the waiters and other customers around us, making it feel like a flash mob. Embarrassing but unforgettable. I was very happy, but there was one thing I was concerned about. It happened when I went to Daniel's house to announce our engagement. "I've heard about you. You're a very hardworking and sincere young woman. By the way, how old are you, Jennifer?" Amanda asked me. "I will be 28 years old," I replied. "What? I hope everything is fine with having grandchildren. I was expecting a younger bride," she said. Immediately, Daniel stepped in. "Mom, stop talking about that. We are about to get married. Don't be rude." But Amanda didn't seem convinced. "I want to have children and hope to conceive as soon as possible," but Amanda's words upset me. Moreover, after getting married, I was supposed to live with Daniel's parents. Daniel, who had been living at home, suggested it. The house was close to my workplace, so I couldn't easily refuse. After the marriage, Amanda kept saying things like, "My friends' grandchildren are so cute. I want to have mine soon, and I want to play with my grandchildren as soon as possible." Eventually, she even started meddling in our intimate life, saying things like, "Jennifer, are you measuring your body temperature properly? You know there are methods like the something something method. You really have to think about making babies." But I found it difficult to get pregnant and gradually became anxious. Daniel and I decided to go to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor told us, "There is no problem with your husband, but your uterus has a slightly complex shape, making it difficult for the embryo to implant." "Does that mean I can't get pregnant?" I asked hesitantly. The doctor replied, "Scientifically, it's not completely impossible. However, there are no known cases of pregnancy in this situation in the United States." "So the problem is with me," I said. It was clear that my body had issues with getting pregnant. The moment I was told this, I broke down and cried to Daniel. I felt like I was failing in my role as a woman and started blaming myself. Daniel tried to comfort me by saying, "It's okay," but no matter what he said, I couldn't shake off the feeling that it was my fault. Daniel himself seemed lost for words, which made me feel even worse. From that day on, I found it hard to focus on housework and my job, and Amanda started to worry about me. "I'm okay. I'm just tired from work," I would reply, but it was clear that I was depressed, and both Daniel and I were acting differently. Amanda noticed and said, "Something is wrong, isn't it? Talk to me. The atmosphere in this house is getting depressing." Reluctantly, Daniel and I decided to tell Amanda about what the doctor had said. I couldn't respond, but Daniel said, "Mom, that's no way to talk." But Amanda continued, "I knew it. I should never have let you marry her. I had a bad feeling about her from the start. I checked if grandchildren would be possible, didn't I?" "Blaming Jennifer won't solve anything, Mom. It's not her fault." Daniel defended me. But Amanda kept going, "It's obviously the bride's fault, and you, Daniel, should have listened to my advice." "Enough is enough, Mom. You're going too far," Daniel said firmly. "Why are you taking her side?" Amanda snapped, storming off to her room. "Don't worry about it, Jennifer. You don't have to mind her." Daniel tried to comfort me. "Daniel, actually, I've been thinking about this too," I said hesitantly. "What do you mean?" he asked, concerned. "I think it's too painful for you to stay with me. You want to have children, right? But you can't have them with me. I think it would be better for us to break up." Daniel took my hands in his. "I married you because I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Jennifer. Whether we can have children or not, as long as we can live together, that's all that matters to me. Please stop thinking about breaking up just because we can't have children." Tears welled up in my eyes at Daniel's warm words. After learning about the results of the examination, my mother-in-law Amanda really wanted a grandchild. She started to harass and be nasty to me because I couldn't have children. When my father-in-law or Daniel was around, they would protect me. However, Amanda didn't like that, and she would be mean when the two of them weren't there. I would consult with Daniel about it every day, but I was worried that if Amanda thought I was tattling to Daniel, it might make her even angrier. Daniel didn't say anything directly, but he did his best to keep Amanda and me apart. Still, Amanda's mean behavior didn't stop, and both Daniel and I were at our wits' end. Finally, Daniel couldn't take it anymore and confronted Amanda. "We have our own circumstances in this marriage. What do you want from Jennifer? Isn't it enough that she lives here with us? Stop being so mean to her." Amanda snapped back in rage. "Quiet. I will not accept a daughter-in-law who can't give me grandchildren." "Why would you say something like that? I can't live with you anymore. This is not fair to Jennifer. We're moving out." Angry, Daniel declared that we were going to live separately. In fact, we had been looking for a new place for quite a while, so we started to seriously consider our options. Initially, we were searching for a rental that we could move into immediately, but we couldn't find a place that met our expectations. So we reevaluated our budget, considering our living expenses, and we both agreed that building a new house would be a better option for our future. Though we couldn't move as quickly as we could have if we rented, thanks to Daniel confronting Amanda, my father-in-law also started to keep a closer eye on Amanda to ensure she didn't mistreat me. So we were able to move on the scheduled day without any major issues. We thanked my father-in-law and moved into our new house. Life without Amanda was blissful. Just a week after our move, my father-in-law called with an apology. "I'm sorry, it seems Amanda found out your new address." She snooped around and discovered a note with it written down. We hadn't told her to avoid trouble, but she insists on coming over now. Hours later, Amanda and my father-in-law arrived. When I opened the door, Amanda stood there holding bags while my father-in-law looked apologetic. I hesitated, wanting to shut the door, but Amanda quickly spoke up. "I'm sorry for making you uncomfortable. I hope we can start fresh." Her humility surprised me, and I glanced at Daniel, bewildered. Amanda didn't push to enter. Instead, she handed me a large package. "This is a housewarming gift. Put it in your bedroom for good feng shui." The salesperson said it's perfect for that. Taking the package, I started to thank her, but Amanda avoided eye contact and turned to leave with my father-in-law. "Well then, we'll be off. Take care and be happy together," she said as they turned to leave. "Wait, you just got here. Are you leaving already?" Daniel asked, puzzled. "I'm sorry, son. This is Amanda's way of apologizing. She didn't want to intrude. We just came to drop off this gift," my father-in-law explained, smiling apologetically as Amanda led him away. I sensed Amanda's remorse, yet a faint smirk played on her lips. Encouraged by Daniel's curiosity, I decided to open the package right there. Inside was a wooden wall clock adorned with a small birdhouse ornament, resembling a cuckoo clock. As I touched it, I noticed something peculiar. Without a word, I lifted the clock high with both hands and smashed it onto a nearby garden stone. The shattering sound made Amanda turn around in shock, while Daniel and my father-in-law stared, mouths agape. Daniel's voice rang out in disbelief. "What are you doing? Mom tried to apologize with that gift, and you're reacting like this. Apologize to Mom right now." Amanda, covering her mouth, muttered, "How could you?" My father-in-law remained speechless, stunned by my actions. I took deep breaths, trying to calm down, then knelt and retrieved something from the debris of the broken clock. "Can you still defend her after seeing this?" I showed Daniel a particular component from inside the clock. "What? What is this? Why is this here?" Daniel clenched his fists, his anger palpable. "This is part of a camera and a voice recognition device," Daniel said, shocked. I could see my father-in-law's disbelief out of the corner of my eye. When I touched the birdhouse, something felt off. The door didn't move as it should have. I initially thought it was just a decorative piece, but then I noticed a small, round black hole at its center. When sunlight hit it, I glimpsed something glinting inside, a camera lens. "Amanda, you claim ignorance, but why would there be a camera inside this?" "I have no idea." Even after I showed her the components, Amanda shook her head, feigning innocence. Yet her complexion paled visibly. "This is absurd. Mom, you knew about this, didn't you? If we hung this in our bedroom, you could have watched and listened to everything." My father-in-law's shock mirrored Daniel's anger. "Why would you give us something like this? What were you thinking?" Daniel demanded. "Oh, come on. Why did you have to notice? It would have been much easier if you had just accepted it quietly." "But you, my daughter-in-law," Amanda retorted, unashamed. "What are you talking about? You're the one who planted a spying device." Why would you do such a thing? Daniel confronted Amanda, his voice shaking with fury. I was worried whether my daughter-in-law was fulfilling her duties as a wife properly at night. I thought maybe the reason you two haven't had children isn't physical but mental, so I wanted to ensure she was behaving properly in the bedroom. And if not, I planned to push for a divorce. It wouldn't have been good for you, Daniel. Amanda snapped back, her frustration evident. Daniel, equally angry, confronted her sternly. I've told you I'm perfectly happy with how things are, and there's no way you could have set up this clock by yourself. Is there someone else involved in this? To this, Amanda replied, if I had an accomplice who shared my sentiments, it could have been executed even more flawlessly. I had a clockmaker acquaintance of mine specially craft this clock with a built-in camera and microphone. What have you done? Do you understand how terrible this is? My father-in-law exclaimed, prompting Amanda to hurl stones at the fence. The worst one here is your wife. She can't even bear children, yet she had the audacity to marry you. What about my grandchildren? Stop it right now, my father-in-law intervened, restraining Amanda. I'm sorry for this. We're leaving now, he apologized, guiding Amanda into the car and driving away. Standing there bewildered, Daniel turned to me and said, I'm sorry. My mom said some really awful things. It's not your fault, Daniel. Afterward, I couldn't help but wonder about Amanda and my father-in-law. I wanted nothing to do with Amanda anymore, but I worried about how my father-in-law would handle the situation and what our relationship with Amanda would be in the future. A few days later, I received a call from my father-in-law. I'm really sorry about the other day, were his first words. I actually wanted an apology from Amanda, not him. He hadn't done anything wrong. No, Dad, are you okay after all that? Daniel asked, concerned. We had a big argument afterward. A lot of things came out during that. It turns out Amanda has been making disparaging remarks and harassing not just Jennifer, but others as well. I was surprised. I had no idea she treated other people the same way. Wait, what do you mean? Daniel was equally shocked, seeking clarification from his father. There's a woman in our neighborhood who can't have children, and apparently Amanda has also made snide remarks and harassed her, so she's been behaving this way towards strangers, not just family. It appears so. When I confronted her about mistreating Jennifer, she admitted to targeting other women who she deemed useless for not having children. I was appalled. The revelations were deeply disturbing. She's been doing all this behind our backs. Daniel's voice trembled with anger as his father attempted to pacify him. Let me explain, his father urged, attempting to calm the tense atmosphere. Calm down. How can I when my own mother is behaving like this? It's infuriating and shameful. Don't you feel the same, Dad? Daniel's frustration was palpable. You're right. That's why I immediately apologized to the affected families. But I also discovered that a few houses down, another daughter-in-law suffered severe verbal abuse from Amanda, which drove her into depression. They moved away years ago. I'm worried about our reputation in the neighborhood, and I can't tolerate this any longer, my father-in-law confessed, clearly distressed. I've decided to file for divorce. I was taken aback, but Daniel remained composed and supportive. I understand. Are you going to be all right, Dad? His father spoke calmly, as if he had already made his decision. I'm planning to move out of this house as well. I owe it to our neighbors to set things right. Don't worry about me. I've already found a new place through a friend. Once everything is settled, I'll relocate. I wanted to inform you because Amanda might come your way now that I've asked her to leave today. I'm concerned about that. Even in his own turmoil, he still cared for us deeply. I understand. We'll handle it if she comes here. Once again, I apologize. I'll be in touch once I'm settled. With that, he politely ended the call. Thanks to Daniel putting the phone on speaker, I heard the entire conversation. A few hours later, Amanda arrived at our doorstep with her bags. Please help me. He kicked me out after the divorce. I have nowhere else to go. Let me stay here, she pleaded as soon as she arrived. Why did Dad divorce you? Was it solely because of this recent incident? Daniel questioned her sternly. Well, there are reasons, Amanda replied evasively. We've heard everything from Dad, Daniel retorted, catching her off guard. So you've mistreated not only Jennifer but also other daughters-in-law in the neighborhood. Amanda's eyes widened in surprise. Well, and because of your mistreatment, one of them even suffered from depression. Daniel Hughes. That's an exaggeration. There's no proof it was my fault. You're making me out to be a criminal. And how can a woman not bear children? I went through so much to give birth to you, and now I can't even see my own grandchildren because of her. Just looking at her makes me sick, Amanda snapped, her anger flaring. Mom, happiness isn't solely defined by having children, Daniel responded calmly but firmly. I understand that, but please let me stay here for now, Amanda pleaded. I'm sorry, but that's not possible. I've chosen to be happy with Jennifer. I can't continue living with you the way things are. You need to reflect on your actions. Why not? You're my son. I gave birth to you and raised you. Show some respect, Amanda insisted, her tone growing desperate. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but this is a different situation, Daniel replied calmly. Why? Just let me stay. Amanda's frustration boiled over, and she began throwing things from the entryway toward us. Realizing there was no reasoning with her, we decided to call the police. We managed to keep Amanda outside until the officers arrived. They escorted her away. I'm so angry. What's going to happen to me now? I never want to see your face again, Amanda shouted in frustration as the police intervened. I silently agreed, thinking to myself, well, you didn't have to come here in the first place. It seemed the police had given her a stern warning because she never returned to her house again. Shortly after, Daniel's father made the decision to move. Surprisingly, he found an apartment within walking distance of our home. If she ever shows up, I'll handle it, he assured us, which was a relief. During the housewarming visit to his new place, we asked about Amanda's current situation. She's living in public housing now. It's affordable housing for seniors and those with special circumstances, he explained. We used to live in a place like that, didn't we? I remarked. Yes, similar to that. Back then, families with children had priority for those apartments, he reminisced. Is she working? Daniel asked, somewhat surprised at the idea of Amanda holding a job. She started working part-time, but her employment history is shaky. After so many years as a housewife, she struggles with interpersonal relationships, often causing conflicts that lead to job losses. It's become a cycle of finding new part-time work, he detailed. I see. Well, I didn't expect it to be easy. It's good to hear she's making an effort to work, Daniel acknowledged. By the way, how do you keep up with her current situation? Do you stay in touch with her? I try not to stay in touch, but after so many years together, I can't help but worry. I check in occasionally to see how she's doing. It's better to know her situation in case there are issues that could affect you and Daniel. Daniel's father explained, showing a lingering concern for Amanda's well-being despite everything. Well, currently she's not holding down a steady job, so she's living somewhat depressingly on welfare, he added. Meanwhile, we decided to bring a dog into our lives. One day, while browsing a pet store, we came across a toy poodle. Hey, this little one just made eye contact with me, didn't it? I exclaimed excitedly. Me too. So cute, Daniel joined in. When we checked its birth date, I was thrilled. Daniel, look at its birthday. What about it? Oh, that's the same day you proposed to me in Hawaii. Doesn't it feel like fate? Feeling a sense of destiny, we decided to bring this young toy poodle home with us. Since then, we've been doting on this dog as if it were our own child. Additionally, with Daniel's father living nearby, he started visiting us frequently, making our family life lively and cheerful.